the other members of the actual team
That's
were
right.
able to do that. I
That's
come
right.
back Saturday, win 6-3. Yeah,
It
I
was
saw that.
great.
I saw 5 earned runs.
No, but
in
aren't
the
you
second.
feeling positive? Coming off a win, bringing Game 3 back home.
I tweeted the question that
what?
that 5-run second inning
Yeah.
was that the equivalent of Rocky cutting Drago.
That's right. Was the
I don't know.
Jaime Garcia, their pitcher, for the Cardinals, he got a little stomach flu. He had all of a sudden he got sick after the second inning and had to leave the
He
game.
came apart at the seams in
Yeah.
the second inning. And
No,
then,
but they're saying that he had a stomach virus. That's the reason why.
yeah, he had to go to his happy place after the second inning because that was some performance. But yeah, so it was interesting you bring up the Cubs because I noticed that apparently, and I didn't know this, apparently you can buy Cubs playoff tickets with your Link card.
What?
Well, because you're going to the game
wait,
tonight.
stop.
So I only assumed. I just connected the dots.
No, I have a friend who has season
Oh.
tickets who cannot go, and they graciously let me buy their tickets for face value. Now, the game's at 5:07 tonight. Tomorrow's game is at 3:37. I know a lot of people out there have to work. I'm free. So if somebody wants me to be a seat filler, if they want me to escort them or drive them to the game or Uber them to the game, or heck, we can even take a rickshaw. I'm available, 312-642-5600. Because seriously, I mean, a lot of people are working on their school and things like that and extracurricular activities. So there might be a ticket out there that someone wants to sponsor me for.
That's got to be a good friend you have because paying face value for whatever if he's a season ticket holder, they're probably pretty decent seats. I mean, he could probably pay for like half a year tuition at Northwestern for those seats tonight.
No. I mean, the big money is the scalping. At lower level right now is going for about
I know.
$1,000.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm just saying he sold it to me for face value. Right?
Well, I know,
rather
but why?
Right, he could have.
Yeah.
Because he likes me. I don't know.
Boy.
Dan, I don't ask why. I just say thank you and here's your money.
I'll tell you, it's nice. That's very nice. So just enjoy the game tonight.
Thank you.
And then Jay Cutler, I'll tell you just quickly on Cutler. Not
Yes.
that it matters. I mean, the Bears are 2-3 now.
Right.
The Seattle Seahawks are 2-3. You know what that means?
Wait.
Absolutely nothing. They are still a terrible team. It's just John Fox is doing a great job with not very much. And I find Jay Cutler detestable. I always have. I really do. He is the embodiment of overpaid mediocrity.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to give credit where credit is due. And that comeback yesterday, given the Bears' defense kept him in the game, was largely Cutler.
Good. See, you're saying something nice about Jay Cutler.
After I said a lot of things that were not nice about him, which is normally the way I give compliments.
But so we have 2 games here in Chicago, and then the big game, Dan. The big game is Saturday, Iowa versus Northwestern. Now, I just want you to know that I'd like to place a bet. Now, you're
here
coming
we go
off
again.
your slam. What was the final score of the Michigan game? 38-0.
38. You said it correctly. Yes,
Thank
38
you.
to nothing.
And I had a few flea flicker passes, or what was going on there? Yes, thank you. But I would like to take a bet. Now, I don't know what the spread is
You
yet.
would like to take a bet, or you'd
I'd like to make a bet.
Yeah.
Make a bet with you.
Yeah.
So, are you interested?
Sure.
That my Hawkeyes are
I'll
going to
take
beat
Iowa.
your. Yeah, you will.
I'll take Iowa and lay the points.
Okay.
No, wait.
No.
It's in Evanston, right?
Right.
Yeah. So Northwestern will be favored. So I'll take Iowa with the points. Sure. Not a problem.
You're so
Is that what you meant?
Well, you're not going to. You don't want Northwestern to win?
No.
Why?
Because Northwestern, I find that institution loathsome. Haven't you heard me on this show?
No,
telling,
I know. I have
telling
you.
everyone, parents out there, do not send your children to Northwestern. What is unclear about that? No, actually, I like Pat Fitzgerald, and he's done a great job with the football program. Pretty good job. Not mythological job, but pretty good
he's
job
been-
with the
yeah.
football program. But Northwestern being ranked 13 going into the game this weekend
What a
was
joke.
was fiction. And that fiction was
I know.
laid bare by Michigan in Ann Arbor on Saturday. That's a
You
joke.
guys got
Northwestern
spanked.
is not a top 20 team, and I hate to break it to you. Iowa and that 1.5 yards in a cloud of dust offense they run, that is
Excuse
not a
me.
top 20 team either.
Well, we're
Because to
ranked
beat
22
Illinois doesn't make you a top 20 team. I don't know how to tell you this.
Well, before going into the Illinois game, we were ranked 22nd. Now we're, I think, 18th. So it's fine. Then we're gonna spank you guys on Saturday. Game time's 11 o'clock, in case you care.
Do you have a friend who is...
No, I actually bought my ticket 6 months ago.
Did you really?
Yeah.
With your link card?
Stop.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Happy Columbus Day. Chicago Public Schools shut down for today. And the kids are going to enjoy it because it's going to be partly sunny, breezy, gorgeous, a high of 73 degrees. We have a parade at noon downtown. And then tomorrow, sunny, breezy, cooler though, a high of 61. Let's get the travel times. I'm sure it's not too busy out there. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Amy. Good morning. Good morning, Dan. Right now, pretty light. And, of course, we'll have the closures later for the Columbus Day Parade. Right now, we still have some closures after Sunday's Chicago Marathon around Grant Park. But Columbus, Congress, and Jackson are all scheduled to reopen in the next hour. Balbo's the one street which is expected to remain closed till Wednesday morning to clean up after the marathon. On the expressways, things look great. Traffic is light. No delays to report anywhere. The only overnight roadwork still in place for the Elgin O'Hare 390 westbound from Meacham to Roselle. There's a left lane closure, and that's scheduled till 6 a.m. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
12 days of Christmas? Not likely. At Tasty Catering, their chefs have been cooking up brand new winter menu items all year long. So when the temperature drops and you start humming holiday jingles, they're ready to serve you the best holiday party catering feast around.
The highly anticipated Tasty Catering holiday menus are already available online for you to browse. And what's more, the Tasty Catering staff is ready to use their award-winning service to get you into the holiday spirit.
Holiday party planners from companies throughout Chicagoland, from downtown to the far suburbs. Tasty Catering invites you to their kitchens to taste some delicious holiday menu items. Then, let their friendly team help you plan the most successful holiday party yet.
Don't wait. Call them today at 847-593-2000 or visit tastycatering.com to schedule a holiday lunch date on them.
Visit tastycatering.com now. Full menus are online, and their staff has an invitation waiting for you to come and sample.
tastycatering.com, 847-593-2000.
You didn't build that. You don't pay your fair share. Who do you think you are? Ayn Rand knew exactly who you are. Rational, productive, independent. You work hard and use your own judgment. You choose your career path, your lifestyle, your values. You're living the American dream. And now you see that there are people who want to take away what you've created and who will call their lust to loot a virtue. People who think the needs of others is a claim on your money, your work, your life. Well, how can you fight back? That's what they do at the Ayn Rand Institute. They look closely at public policy beyond sound bites and election cycles, at the fundamental moral ideas that frame crucial debates. They focus on reframing the issues in line with reason, egoism, and individual rights to life, liberty, property, and the pursuit of happiness. Your life, liberty, property, and the pursuit of your happiness. Stand up with them to fight against the sacrifice of your values by making a contribution today at aynrand.org/support. They'll use your money to defend your values.
Hi, this is Dr. David Kolbaba. Glad you're here with us today. HealthQuest Radio is Chicagoland's longest-running health news and science program. I've been an integrated healthcare practitioner for over 33 years now, and if you've been wondering what it's like to be a patient in our HealthQuest offices, well, take a look at our website. Go to healthquestradio.com under Testimonials and Tales of Wonder, right on the homepage, where you'll find many encouraging stories of success straight from our patient's mouth. Would you like to be done with those migraine headaches, get your insulin under control, feel more energetic, maybe having better sex, get that libido in gear again, discover why you eat for every emotion, and then get it under control? On medication and want to be off of it? Whatever health challenges you the most, you can schedule your new patient consult with me just by calling our HealthQuest Radio hotline at 800-794-1855. That's 800-794-1855.
AM 560, The Answer.
There's no way we're going to lose tonight. I mean, Jake Arrieta's pitching. He's got the perfect ERA right now in the postseason, 1.00. And we're going against Michael Wacha, who against the Cubs, you know, he's had 4 starts against the Cubs and his ERA is 6.86.
Yeah.
So come on.
That's why they play the games. I have to tell you, there's nothing more hilarious than an overconfident Cubs fan. I mean, I don't know where you've been the last 107 years. Kevin in Northfield, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Boy, this is the start to an auspicious week. Did I hear Dan Proft embrace Jay Cutlet?
Well, I didn't embrace him. I think I led with, I find him detestable. I don't know if that's an embrace.
Yeah, but you gave him his props. off, as we like to say. And I now wonder, are you ready to come aboard the Trump extravaganza?
Thanks for the
Thanks,
call,
R2D2.
Kevin. Yeah, this is great. I loved you. I don't know, Trump and Cutler. It's interesting that Kevin, a Trump supporter, Kevin from Northfield, Trump supporter, would make that comparison. I don't know that that's a complimentary comparison for Trump if you're a Trump supporter. But I will say rooting for Cutler, it's like rooting for a Bond villain.
Oh, you stop it.
How about Sourpussy?
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
There you go.
That should be
Sourpussy.
How about that?
Well, we had bad Jay at the first 2 quarters, and then the second 2 quarters, good Jay showed up, so it was fine. But I don't know if you heard about this. The mayor of St. Louis, his name is Francis Slay. Mayor Emanuel wanted to do a bet. You know how team mayors make bets against each other? Oh, if we win, I'll send you, Vienna hot dogs or something stupid, or Eli's cheesecake. Well, the mayor...
all the Nelly records.
Exactly. Well, Mayor Francis Slay said no to Mayor Emanuel, who wanted to make a friendly wager about this division series. And he said, we can't. We're too busy. We are so busy here in my office, I can't make a friendly wager with you. So thanks. And he denied
nice
it.
brush
Mayor
off.
Emanuel called him on his cell phone, and he said no.
I love it. I'll tell you what. That's
No.
That's a little chin music from Mayor Slay down there.
I can rub people the wrong way.
Yeah, truly.
You can't. He told Mayor Emanuel no. Who's the last time to tell Mayor Emanuel no? Ooh.
Almost the voters if he had a decent candidate. All right, switching gears. Speaking of Mayor Emanuel, his former boss, that's President Obama.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, not Ari. His former boss was on 60 Minutes yesterday. A wide-ranging interview with Steve Kroft. And I have to admit, normally I am tough on the compliant press. But after 6.5 years, President Obama is actually getting some tough questions that have some relevance to his stated positions and substantive record. And Steve Kroft pushed him on a number of fronts. One of them was on who is going to get rid of ISIS. And listen to this answer, and you tell me if this is not kind of quintessential leading from behind.
What's going on right now is not working. I mean, they're still occupying big chunks of Iraq. They're still occupying a good chunk of Syria.
Right.
Who's going to get rid of them?
Over time, the community of nations will all get rid of them, and we will be leading getting rid of them. But we are not going to be able to get rid of them unless there is an environment inside of Syria and in portions of Iraq in which local populations, local Sunni populations, are working in a concerted way with us to get rid of them.
Ooh. Yeah, everybody's going to get rid of them, and we're going to lead? Question mark. Yeah, that is not particularly compelling. Listen to, there was an exchange between Kroft and President Obama about Syria, about the disintegration of Syria, about Putin challenging President Obama's leadership, which he flatly rejected. Putin is not challenging my leadership.
Oh, really?
And he also tried to kind of mischaracterize what Kroft was saying about Putin exhibiting leadership by saying, well, look what he's had to do to prop up his ally Assad in Syria, kind of sending military assets that he can't afford to send is not the definition of leadership. But Kroft explained that we're not talking about Putin being a leader. We're talking about being a destabilizer. President Obama either is so much of a simpleton he doesn't understand that distinction, or he just chose to ignore it. But listen to what President Obama said. They're talking about Putin. They're talking about Syria. They're talking about all these burning oil derricks around the world that have been burning maybe at some level, but have gone from a simmer to a conflagration under this president. And then listen to what he says, President Obama says leadership is.
We've got a different definition of leadership. My definition of leadership would be leading on climate change and international accord that potentially will get in Paris. My definition of leadership is mobilizing the entire world community to make sure that Iran doesn't get a nuclear weapon.
Wow.
So,
and 2 weeks ago, he said ISIS can be solved if we just give them jobs.
Right.
I'm not kidding you.
No, the Jobs for Terrorists program. Sure. No, that's the key.
Where do I sign up?
I mean, Putin is rolling through, first Crimea, Ukraine, now Syria, in addition to all of the other problems that we have. And he's talking about leadership. Global leadership is eliminating aerosol spray cans, climate change. Hey, listen to this, by the way, too. Iran, preventing Iran from getting nuclear weapons. Remember that Iranian nuclear deal? May have already been violated. New York Times over the weekend. Iran tested a new guided long-range ballistic missile on Sunday, hours before Parliament in a rowdy session approved the generalities of the nuclear agreement reached in July between Iran and the would-be powers. The missile launch may have violated the terms of agreement reached in Vienna with the six world powers. According to some readings of the deal, it placed restrictions on Iran's ambitious missile program. And one other kicker, the head of the Atomic Energy Organization of Iran, Ali Akbar Saleh, who had gone to Parliament to defend the deal, said in a speech that a member had threatened to kill him and bury his body in the cement of the Arak heavy water reactor. So it sounds like things are going very well. Iran's really gotten the message from President Obama and the six world powers, although, of course, Putin was never really in on this, and China's never really in on this. But this is what's happening in Iran. Well, President Obama is talking about what he has done with respect to Iran is an example of his global leadership. I mean, it's just breathtaking. There was this op-ed, too, regarding Syria, and this is interesting. Condi Rice and Bob Gates, who was President Obama's former defense secretary, in addition to Bush's, penned this op-ed in the Washington Post. Really basically belittling President Obama, not disagreeing with him, belittling him. One can hear the disbelief in capitals from Washington to London to Berlin to Ankara and beyond. How can Vlad Putin, with a sinking economy and a second-rate military, continually dictate the course of geopolitical events? Whether it's in Ukraine or Syria, the Russian president seems always to have the upper hand. He is not destabilizing the situation according to our definition of stability. He is defending Russia's interests by keeping Assad in power. They go on to write, we shouldn't forget what Moscow's definition of success is, and it's not the same as ours. They've shown a willingness to accept and even encourage the creation of so-called failed states and frozen conflicts from Georgia to Moldova to Ukraine. Why should Syria be any different? They go on to take President Obama's words and put them right back down his throat. We have to create our own facts on the ground. No-fly zones and safe harbors for populations are not, quote-unquote, half-baked ideas, something that President Obama has referred to. You know, these ideas coming from opponents are half-baked ideas. We'll have more on his 60 Minutes interview, but it was just breathtaking. I don't know which was more farcical this weekend, that interview or Amy Schumer on Saturday Night Live, and we'll have both of them, so you can make the decision.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Slow down, step back in time, and spend the night at the Schuster Mansion in Milwaukee, where history and tradition come together. The Schuster Mansion is not just a bed and breakfast. It's a private retreat created for you to rest, relax, and enjoy. Each guest room has been lovingly curated with period furniture, romantic decor, and antiques. There's a modern private bath for every room. Whether you're celebrating a special event or just want to escape from the everyday bustle, the Schuster Mansion has just the room or suite to fit your mood. Each overnight stay includes a homemade breakfast in the Victorian dining room and fresh chocolate chip cookies any time of day. Be sure to reserve a seat at the table for high tea, featuring a buffet of flavored teas and a variety of savory scones and sweets. Call Laura Sue to make a reservation at 414-342-3210. 414-342-3210. It may be Wisconsin, but why stay in a cabin when you can stay in a castle? SchusterMansion.com.
Hi, Tom Sadeka, CEO of Precision Payroll of America. We're the 32-year-old company whose first employee and first client are still working together. If you are like me and are listening to this station, chances are we hold some common values and truths we hold self-evident. That's the main reason Precision Payroll attracts great clients and great employees. Precision Payroll of America operates at the core with fundamental principles that drive our attitude and delivery of service. We work hard to provide the best in pricing and value. In addition, with our great great team that has been with us a long time, you are ensured a lasting relationship with people who understand your needs and always stand ready to serve. What sets us apart is that we view what we do as a great opportunity to serve others in a professional and technical capacity while building long-lasting relationships. That's what we treasure. If this message hits home, please call me at 630-242-1507. That's 630-242-1507 or on the web at precisionpayroll.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Oh, coming up next, President Obama responds to Hillary's emails.
And Trump totes guns, and he thinks you should too.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say good Monday morning to Mike Scott.
Dan and Amy, good morning. Happy Thanksgiving Day. If you're Canadian this morning, President Obama sees Russian President Vladimir Putin's actions in Syria as a major sign of weakness.
If you think that running your economy into the ground and having to send troops in order to prop up your only ally is leadership, then we've got a different definition of leadership.
In a wide-ranging interview on CBS's 60 Minutes, the president also said Hillary Clinton's use of private email was a mistake.
You know, she made a mistake. She's acknowledged it. I do think that the way it's been ginned up is in part because of politics.
The president also weighed in on the possibility of Vice President Joe Biden throwing his hat into the 2016 ring. The chair of the House Oversight Committee thinks he is the best choice to succeed John Boehner as Speaker of the House.
We have a gulf and a divide that needs to be bridged. We need a speaker, I think, who takes the communications realm and drives the discussion in this country about what it is we're standing for and what it is we're trying to do.
Republican congressmen who pushed for John Boehner to step aside. One of them is not against Paul Ryan becoming successor. Freedom Caucus Chair Jim Jordan.
We're much more concerned about reforming the institution. This is not just about who the next speaker is. It's about what's going to change the business as usual attitude around there.
Chaffetz on ABC's This Week, Jordan on Fox News Sunday. A Memphis police officer has died after being shot yesterday afternoon. Terrence Oldridge was killed in the suburb of Cordova. University of Southern California head football coach Steve Sarkisian has been placed on an indefinite leave of absence. Multiple outlets reporting Sarkisian showed up to work intoxicated. Teachers in McHenry are set to vote on ratifying a new contract today that could put an end to a strike in District 156. Travelers flying southwest out of Midway could see long lines as long as 2 hours following technical glitches over the weekend that caused hundreds of delays. A man running in the Chicago Marathon revived by paramedics after suffering an apparent heart attack. Chicago Fire says the man in his 60s fell to the ground Sunday morning at Lakeshore Drive and Melrose. Chicago sports, Jay Cutler led the Bears to a pair of fourth-quarter touchdowns and a win over Kansas City, 18-17. NLDS, Cards and Cubs tonight. First pitch at 5:07. NBA preseason action, New Orleans and the Bulls. The news, a service of Fresh Time and Fresh Time Farmers Market. Healthy food, healthy values. This week, tender asparagus, only $1.27 a pound. Fresh salmon fillets, only $3.97 a pound. Grand opening prices valid at all 7 Chicagoland locations and now in Bucktown, Lincoln Park, Crystal Lake, and Naperville. FreshTime.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher is tired of the gun control rhetoric.
If Chris had not been able to get a hold of 13 guns, it wouldn't have happened.
Empty rhetoric. And my heart goes out to this father and the mother because their son will forever be known as the monster who killed innocent people. Stop blaming the gun, the inanimate object, for the evilness of the creature.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 on your mobile device. Now available on iHeartRadio. Online at iHeartRadio.com.
Can you recognize the signs of a structural foundation problem? Hi, I'm Roy Spencer, president of Permaseal. Many homeowners are experiencing the symptoms of foundation issues. Have you noticed doors or windows that no longer shut properly? Are there new cracks in your drywall or exterior brickwork? Are your floors uneven? These indicators can be signs of damage to your home's foundation. Why fix the problem? because it will only get worse, and the longer you wait, the more costly it will be. And why choose Permaseal? Because it's free, the inspection that is. Our consultants have been trained and certified by the manufacturer to evaluate your foundation and offer you a permanent solution absolutely free of charge. For over 36 years, my mission has been to provide you with a superior customer experience at the greatest value. Call Permaseal today at 800-421-SEAL. When the work is done, you'll have a transferable warranty and the peace of mind you deserve. That's 800-421-SEAL or visit permaseal.net.
Your best for being better, Permaseal.
5:36, and in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center, here is Jim Telemonti.
Thanks, Mike. And looking at the flight boards right now at Midway, it appears almost all the flights are on schedule. We'll keep an eye on that, though. And as Mike mentioned, Southwest is advising passengers to arrive early with those technical glitches that happened over the weekend. And passengers are urged also, if possible, to print those boarding passes at home before coming to the airport. O'Hare looking good this morning. There is some heavy traffic on the roads approaching O'Hare. The outbound Kennedy getting a little heavy approaching O'Hare, and then on westbound 190, it is slow from past River Road into the terminal area. Inbound Stevenson, you've got about a 1-minute delay, Pulaski to Kedzie. Inbound Ryan, a 2-minute delay, Cermak to downtown. Bishop Ford just a little heavy approaching the merge. Traffic service of UPSjobs.com, seeking part-time package handlers throughout Chicagoland, especially Northbrook, Palatine, Franklin Park, and Bedford Park. Package handlers can graduate debt-free with up to $25,000 in education assistance. Apply now at UPSjobs.com/radio. Get there with UPS. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solutions provider. Partly sunny, breezy. 73 today. 63 at O'Hare. Next news at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by HealthQuest Radio with Dr. David Kolbaba. HealthQuest Radio is heard Saturday mornings at 11 o'clock here on AM 560, The Answer.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, happy Columbus Day.
Oh, yeah.
We still observe it in this studio.
We sure do.
Mr. Cushman is teaching your son that if Columbus was alive today, he would go on trial for crimes against humanity like Milosevic in, Europe.
Your teacher said that. It's in my history book. So you finally read a book and it's bullshit. Look, you had to walk in Columbus's shoes to see what he went through. People thought the world was flat, for crying out loud. Then he lands on an island with a bunch of naked savages on it. I mean, that took a lot of guts. Who cares? It's what he did. He discovered America is what he did. He was a brave Italian explorer. And in this house, Christopher Columbus is a hero. End of story.
Yeah.
Where do the similarities between us and Tony Soprano begin and end? It's difficult to say.
Yeah, they don't observe Columbus Day in the state of Indiana. So all government offices are open there. Here, we're closed. CPS is closed, but certain other suburban schools are open. Are your kids in school today, Mike Scott?
Kids are out of school today.
Yeah, good. Yeah, it's nice. I send their kids to a good school. It's good to hear.
Oh.
That's true. We do.
Yeah, clearly. Speaking of a big guy who had a grabber and passed on, James Gandolfini, it's just a quick marathon question. You killed a man in a marathon.
No.
Oh.
I've started and finished 3 marathons, but during my first marathon around Comiskey Park or the Cell, so about mile marker 19, a man had collapsed. And I was, running in place like, hey, you need help? And these 2 nurses, they were also running the marathon. They were near me. They started administering CPR. They elevated his feet because that's what you're supposed to do. And I was hanging out. And I'm like, well, do you need me to do anything? I can call 911. They're like, no, we've got this. You can leave. I'm like, all right, see you later.
Right.
And then I finished the race.
Stepped over the chalk outline.
I finished the race and I found out that he did pass away.
What's interesting about that story is that you were behind a guy who had a heart attack and died while running that marathon. Did you ever think about it that way?
No.
I do have a question about
that. But
that.
I did the sign of the cross. I mean, I did say a little prayer and then I...
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's only so much you can do. A question about the marathon, though. Why is there a men's and a women's winner?
Here we go.
Well, I'm just asking. I mean, recognizing gender differences is not a Chicago value under this agender mayor that we have.
Oh, that's right.
So I was a little taken aback by that.
What about when we have the transgender marathon runners? Because that's going to be coming down the pipe. So we're going to have a third category.
Yeah, I mean, I find it discriminatory. It sounds like, what are we saying? Are we saying that women and men are different? Are we saying that women can't compete according to the same parameters as men? I just reject that categorically, and I hope that the organizers of the marathon are listening.
Well, ever since the marathon's been around, they've had a men's championship and a women's championship. So
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, the male winner.
You know what that is? That's an anachronism of a patriarchal, oppressive society.
There you go.
See how good I can do a leftist? It's easy to not make sense. It's not difficult. Speaking of women athletes, President Obama was on 60 Minutes yesterday.
Did he wear his mom jeans?
Yeah, and he had his helmet on, too.
Oh, yeah.
And he needed his helmet on, his little bike helmet on, too, because Steve Kroft was peppering him. He's darling in that, isn't he? Such a cute,
that is the worst visual.
Cute little guy.
And then he had a little bell on his bike and a basket.
Michelle, can I go out and play? So he was on 60 Minutes yesterday, and I just want to get back to Syria and the geopolitical questions because his answers were just breathtaking. Listen to this exchange between Kroft and President Obama on the issue of not just Putin's revanchism in the former kind of Soviet territory, but also his incursion into Syria. Now, as we know, ground troops from Russia moving in. He's eliminating whatever remnants of the Free Syrian Army actually existed. President Obama and this administration on Friday disbanded that $500 million, $500 billion training program.
That train 9 or 10 people?
Yeah, there's like 4 or 5 left. They trained 50, and 45 of them are dead or
bailed,
defected, right? And then also, of course, he has air superiority. Putin has air superiority over Syria because our pilots are told to stand down if there is a conflict.
A year ago when we did this interview, there was some saber rattling between the United States and Russia on the Ukrainian border. Now it's also going on in Syria. You said a year ago that the United States, America leads, we're the indispensable nation. Mr. Putin seems to be challenging that leadership.
In what way? Let's think about this.
Well, he's moved troops into Syria, for one.
Yeah.
He's got people on the ground.
Right.
2, the Russians are conducting military operations in the Middle East for the first time since World War II. Bombing the people that we are supporting.
So that's leading, Steve? Let me ask you this question. When I came into office, Ukraine was governed by a corrupt ruler who was a stooge of Mr. Putin. Syria was Russia's only ally in the region. And today, rather than being able to count on their support and maintain the base they had in Syria, which they've had for a long time, Mr. Putin now is devoting his own troops, his own military, just to barely hold together by a thread his sole ally.
He's challenging your leadership, Mr. President. He's challenging your leadership.
Steve, I got to tell you, if you think that running your economy into the ground and having to send troops in order to prop up your only ally is leadership, then we've got a different definition of leadership.
On that last point, running your economy in the ground, having to send troops in, was he talking about Russia or America?
Or America.
He could have easily been talking about
Russia,
his own record. It's just such a breathtaking description of what's happening. What Putin is doing is what President Obama wouldn't. Number one, Putin didn't draw a red line. Right. He just took action. President Obama drew the red line that he then erased. Number two, what he's doing is fighting terrorists to prop up his brutal dictator friend Assad. But he is fighting terrorists. He is taking the fight to ISIS in no uncertain terms. And the president completely misunderstands what Putin is doing. Again, I refer to this Condi Rice Bob Gates, who was, again, President Obama's defense secretary. Their op-ed in the Washington Post. Putin's move into Syria is old-fashioned great power politics. Yes, people do that in the 21st century. Talk about a little shot to the president. there is a domestic benefit to him, but he is not externalizing his problems at home. Here's Gary Kasparov, our friend, the chess master, the freedom fighter, over the weekend on Fox addressing Putin as well.
Putin creates a culture of violence there, and the region is so explosive that he will win. And just imagine, something goes wrong with Israel.
What's he going to win? What's Putin going to win?
Chaos. That's all he needs. Chaos. Total destruction of the world order. American allies, for generations, they are in trouble now, and Obama walks away.
Yeah, I mean, that's the key, and that's the key point to understand. He's a destabilizer. He is trying to create chaos. It's not about reconstituting the Soviet Empire. It's about expressing Russian power where he can, but really undermining Western institutions like NATO, for example, and frankly, like the United States of America as a country that is leading from the front rather than leading from behind.
Well, I think Obama looked like a fool yesterday, and he didn't even realize that he was looking like a fool. I mean, Steve Kroft, I thought, was, silently, quietly laughing while he was listening to the answers. Did you see his reaction? I mean, he's like, but do you know, he wasn't, he's not there. Obama is so disengaged, so separate. He's living in a different world than we are.
You want to know how different that world is? Listen to his answer to the question on leaving office.
Okay.
And I think having a fresh set of legs in this seat, I think having a fresh perspective, new personnel and new ideas, and a new conversation with the American people about issues that may be different a year from now than they were when I started 8 years ago, I think that's all good for our democracy. I think it's healthy.
Do you think if you ran again, could run again, and did run again, you would be elected?
Yes.
You do?
I do.
Well, I mean, the second part is just his hubris, but I just wanted to make sure we understood that hasn't gone anywhere. The first part is interesting.
Fresh set of legs.
Fresh set of legs, new ideas. That was the one portion of the interview where I was in vociferous agreement with the president.
Take it easy, champ. Why don't you stop talking for a while? Maybe sit the next couple plays out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm gonna quit saying things when they crop up there in the old skull, huh?
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Happy Columbus Day. The parade is at noon, and we're going to have perfect weather for it. Partly sunny, breezy, pleasantly high of 73 degrees. Then tomorrow, a little bit different around here. We're going to still have sunny skies. It'll be breezy, but a lot cooler, a high of 61 degrees. Let's get the travel times and say hello to Jim Telemonte.
Good morning. Happy Columbus Day, Amy and Dan. Your traffic gift for this day should be a little lighter than usual. Right now, the Kennedy outbound, just a little sluggish, central to O'Hare. We're seeing that usual Monday morning delay on westbound 190. It's slow from River Road to the terminal area. It's not quite as bottled up as you might have it on other Mondays during the year. The inbound Kennedy's fine still. The Eden's clear. Inbound Eisenhower, a little congestion past Manheim. Stevenson has a 2 or 3 minute delay from past Cicero to Kedzie. The Ryan, just a 2-minute delay coming into downtown. Bishop Ford, about a 3-minute delay from 103rd to the merge. The tollways are good. Midway this morning having some technical issues, or Southwest Airlines is, I should say, so passengers for Southwest are advised to arrive early and, if possible, print boarding passes at home. Right now, though, almost all arrivals and departures are moving as scheduled. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
With the change of season and the cooler weather comes many things added to your to-do list. Watch football, rake leaves, consume more cider donuts than needed, clean the gutters, make sure the furnace is ready for the Chicago cold. But there is one key item missing from your to-do list: scheduling your garage door and opener checkup. That's right, every other part of your home gets the care and attention that is required for proper performance, but your garage door is taken for granted. Before it's too late and you find yourself with a garage door that forgets how to open and close, schedule your garage door and opener checkup with House of Doors, 708-485-5000. That's 708-485-5000. Or online at houseofdoorsinc.com. Think about how much you rely on your garage door. Now is the time. Take care of it with House of Doors Garage Door Checkup, 708-485-5000. Online at houseofdoorsinc.com, where quality starts right at the door, with an A rating from Angie's List.
Do you use a CPAP device for sleep apnea? Are you tired of dragging your bulky in-home device everywhere you travel?
Then you need to know about Transcend, the world's first portable mini CPAP device. It lets you sleep in total comfort anywhere you go. And right now, you can try it risk-free for 10 days by calling 1-800-775-1193. Transcend from minicpap.com is as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. For even more freedom, you can add a battery that's as tiny as a deck of cards. Transcend is so small and so light, you can fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. It's FAA compliant too, so you can sleep comfortably even while flying. Transcend is our smallest, lightest, and most portable mini CPAP design ever, offering all the performance of a bulky standard in-home device. Enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably. Call minicpap.com now for your 10-day in-home trial. 1-800-775-1193. Again, that's 1-800-775-1193.
This is Dan Proft with an Upstream Idea, brought to you in part by the Illinois Policy Institute. In the brave new world of big data, sometimes we forget that politics is about people's lives. When we forget this fundamental truth, people without political clout get hurt, and all of us suffer a loss of dignity in the process. And so the number for your consideration in this installment of Illinois by the Numbers is 47. 47th is where Illinois ranks nationally in the provision of services to persons with developmental disabilities. Providing or not providing for those who need state support through no fault of their own is a mirror that reflects our humanity, our moral health. The result is families who have a family member with a developmental disability have fled Illinois just as entrepreneurs have to live in, well, more civilized states. This is happening on our watch. As an Illinois resident, this is happening on my watch. We are all culpable, and now none of us can any longer pretend not to know. For more ideas like this, visit upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. I'm Dan Proft.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy. So we're talking about Obama's 60 Minutes interview last evening with Steve Kroft, and covered a lot of topics, including some domestic political ones. He commented on Trump. He commented on Hillary's emails. Let's hear what he has to say about one Donald Trump.
What do you think of Donald Trump?
Well, I think that he is a great publicity seeker. And, at a time when the Republican Party hasn't really figured out what it's for as opposed to what it's against, I think that he is he's tapped into something that exists in the Republican Party that's real. I think there is genuine anti-immigrant sentiment in a large portion of at least Republican primary voters. I don't think it's uniform. He knows how to get attention. He's the classic reality TV character, and at this early stages, it's not surprising that he's gotten a lot of attention.
Do you think he's running out of steam? I mean, do you think he's going to disappear?
I'll leave it up to the pundits to make that determination. I don't think he'll end up being president of the United States.
Yeah, because he thinks Hillary will end up being president of the United States. And he...
I don't know about that.
I don't know. He seemed to defend her last night when asked finally about, her email scandal. He said that it was a mistake, but he didn't think that it was a national security problem.
Did you know about Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server?
No.
While she was Secretary of State?
No.
Do you think it posed a national security problem?
I don't think it posed a national security problem. I think that it was a mistake that she's acknowledged. And, as a general proposition, when we're in these offices, we have to be more sensitive and stay as far away from the line as possible when it comes to how we handle information, how we handle our own personal data. And she made a mistake. She's acknowledged it.
Yeah. Well, he says, and all of these attacks on Hillary is just political because she is running for president.
I do think that the way it's been ginned up is in part because of politics, and I think she'd be the first to acknowledge that maybe she could have handled the original decision better and the disclosures more quickly.
Well, that's just a conventional answer to stay within the four corners of the Democrat talking points on Hillary with respect to this field, because he doesn't want to undermine his real candidate for president, and that's his vice president.
Our leaders are stupid.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
We're not gathered here united tonight because of the name of our teams or of of our schools.
Witness the true story
But because of the name
of a spiritual awakening
above all names,
that saved a high school
Jesus.
and shook a city. Experience one hope.
Nobody out there knows what's happened with this team.
One truth.
But when you win on this day, they will!
One way.
Make the changes to these boys' own.
Woodlawn.
I'm asking you to stand up right now and make a decision to change, to forgive, to choose Jesus.
I want you to stop all religious activities until this board has taken this matter under full review.
I think I'm gonna get hit no matter what I do. I got some tough decisions to make.
Woodlawn starts this Friday.
When you send your 16-year-old off in that car, you shouldn't be thinking about saving on car insurance premiums. You should be wondering if you have the most coverage you can afford. Heil & Heil Insurance is here to assist you with critical auto insurance questions like this. These are the questions you should be asking. Call Heil & Heil Insurance today at 847-866-7400 or visit them online at heilandheil.com. At Heil & Heil Insurance, they ask the difficult questions before you put your child behind the wheel. You can put a price on coverage, but not on peace of mind. Call Heil & Heil Insurance today at 847-866-7400 for a free consultation or visit their website at heilandheil.com. Let them help you drive with confidence. That's 847-866-7400. Quality of lifestyle can be preserved by managing risk. Let Heil & Heil help you manage yours. Call today, 847-866-7400.
No one ever imagines facing Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia and needing full-time care, but it happens. And deciding on the right residential care for mom or dad can be a monumental task. There is a memory care community that focuses on helping your parent or loved one with dementia light up and live life to the fullest, making them feel like family. Autumn Leaves memory care communities see past the diagnosis to the person you know, that your dad was a fantastic cook, or that your mom loved to dance. A person who deserves so much more than being just an Alzheimer's patient. Whether it's through yoga and music therapy or simply by cooking them their favorite meal, Autumn Leaves strives to stimulate their minds and bodies to respect and nurture the person you care so much about. See for yourself the difference Autumn Leaves communities can mean for your family. Autumn Leaves, dedicated solely to the unique needs of memory care patients.
Autumn Leaves has 10 locations in the Chicagoland area offering day-stay respite and assisted living programs. Call 888-662-8886 or visit autumnleaves.com.
Do shopping online and using public Wi-Fi make you vulnerable to identity theft? Does giving out your social security number put you at risk? Is your dog at risk of identity theft? Yes, yes, and no. Your dog has absolutely nothing to worry about. But we do live in a world that can expose a lot of personal information, and that can lead to having your identity stolen and losing everything you've worked for. That's why at LifeLock we use proprietary technology to detect a wide variety of threats. And unlike free credit monitoring services, we have a dedicated US-based staff to help restore your identity if it ever is compromised. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses. But if you ask yourself whether you're worth protecting with the best, isn't the answer a resounding yes? Plans start at $9.99 a month, and now you can get 10% off. Go to lifelock.com and use promo code NEWS.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 6:06, the mother of Sean Smith, one of the 4 diplomats murdered in Benghazi, says, why shouldn't Hillary have to answer questions? Good question.
And then desertion dilemma. Bo Bergdahl may not be spending any time in jail. We'll discuss. But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, McHenry teachers set to vote on a new contract. A Berwyn man dies in a skydiving accident. And police say officers fatally shoot a man trying to break into a Lyle home. WIND Chicago News Time is 6 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. It could be another tough day to fly Southwest Airlines.
And we were in this line for about two hours.
She missed her flight from L.A. to Houston as a glitch shut down computer systems. Some 400 flights were affected yesterday, and Southwest says more could be today.
If you do have to come to the airport today, pack your patience, get here about 2 hours early, and print out that boarding pass so you don't have to deal with those delays.
Robin Murdoch with Fox 2 TV outside the Detroit airport where there was a long line this morning. An American reportedly convicted in Iran. Journalist Jason Rezaian has been an accused spy. State TV in Iran is reporting his conviction at a secret trial. President Obama admits Syria is a difficult situation.
What we are not going to do is to try to reinsert ourselves in a military campaign inside of Syria.
The president on CBS's 60 Minutes also said Joe Biden's one of the best vice presidents ever, and he talked about Hillary Clinton's emails. Fox News Radio's Jared Halpern live in Washington.
And questions are still being asked about whether the Democratic frontrunner's use of personal email server as Secretary of State jeopardized national security. President Obama telling CBS's 60 Minutes.
I don't think it posed a national security problem. I think that it was a mistake that she's acknowledged.
President Obama also saying some of the criticism around Hillary Clinton is ginned up, but acknowledged she could have handled disclosures more quickly. The president also is not giving any clues about a possible late game bid by his vice president, Dave.
Sure, the president also said he doesn't think Donald Trump would be the next president. Trump leads the latest CBS Republican poll with a 27-21% edge over Ben Carson. A Memphis police officer shot and killed in a home outside the city while off duty.
Sad, very sad situation. Crying, everybody's crying. Shot him while he's on his way to work.
That's his uncle. Terrence Ulrich leaves behind a wife 4 months pregnant with their first child. A suspect is in custody. Ulrich, the fourth Memphis police officer shot and killed in the last 4+ years. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Mostly clear skies, 62 degrees. Winds gusting out of the south right now at 12. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mike Scott. Teachers in McHenry County set to vote on ratifying a new contract today that could put an end to a strike. School board and union representing educators in High School District 156 reached a tentative deal late on Friday. Travelers flying on Southwest Airlines could be waiting this morning for quite a while following a technical glitch over the weekend that caused hundreds of delays. Take care arriving at one of Midway's key hubs, Midway Airport. Chicago baseball fans are ready for the shifting of the National League Division Series to Wrigley Field, as is Anthony Rizzo, the Cubs first baseman, told reporters it's now the job of Cub hitters to do their part against Cardinals starter Michael Wacha.
Got to score some runs, and Wacha's going to come out, with his best stuff. But we give Jake an early lead like we want to do with every one of our pitchers and let him do his thing.
Cardinals and Cubs are tied at 1 in that NLDS Best of 5 series. Authorities say a police officer shot and killed a 35-year-old man who was trying to break into a suburban Chicago home. Lisle police say they were called to the home of a 59-year-old woman around 5 a.m. Saturday. Police say when officers arrived, one of them shot the armed man with a taser, but that was not effective, according to Lisle police. A 65-year-old suburban man has died following a skydiving accident in Ottawa. LaSalle County Sheriff says Richard Gomez Berwin was reported dead at the scene Sunday morning. The FAA is investigating. Illinois Amtrak riders are dealing with a major disruption of service. Rail company says the Texas Eagle and Lincoln service will not operate between St. Louis and Chicago from October 17 to the 31st. The move will be made to allow the UP, Union Pacific Railroad, to rebuild and expand 6 bridges. Bus service will be provided to affected passengers. Chicago sports, Bears over Kansas City, 18-17. NBA tonight, New Orleans and the Bulls tangle in the NBA preseason. The news, a service of Nicola by LaCroix. Say goodbye to the same old cola and hello to new Nicola, all-natural cola-flavored sparkling water. 0 calories, 0 sweetener, 0 sodium, completely innocent. Nicola by LaCroix, made for you and available at Mariano's. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
You saw him moderate the CNN presidential debate.
Hugh Hewitt, nice man.
Now you can see him live at Freedom Summit Chicago 2015. Hugh Hewitt is coming to Freedom Summit.
Hugh Hewitt.
Hugh Hewitt.
Hugh Hewitt. Hugh Hewitt.
And he joins an already packed lineup that includes Ann Coulter and AM 560's Sean Hannity. Freedom Summit Chicago on November 14th in Itasca with Hugh Hewitt, Sean Hannity, and Ann Coulter. Get your tickets today at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com.
Are you ready to take your diabetes management to the next level? Put the Contour Next meter to the test and challenge your meter. The Contour Next meter makes testing easy and highly accurate with close to lab level results. And Contour Next gives you a second chance, allowing you to reapply to the same strip when the first sample is not enough, saving you time and money. So take the challenge. Go to ContourNextChallenge.com, get a free meter, and enter to win free test strips. Contour Next. Accuracy you can trust.
How do you stay connected to your business when your work has you traveling from Miami on Monday to Tacoma on Tuesday? You call Regis at 1-800-OFFICES. Regis offers drop-in business lounges, meeting rooms, and office space in more than 3,000 locations worldwide, allowing you to work from anywhere at any time, all on your terms. Call Regis today at 1-800-OFFICES and get a free office or meeting room for a day. Regis, here to help you grow.
6:06 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Kennedy outbound stop and go. Lawrence to Sayre and heavy approaching O'Hare. 30 minutes downtown to the airport, and it's stop and go on westbound 190 from the Kennedy to the terminal area. Inbound Kennedy is fine. Headed to the airports right now. Most flights are on schedule at O'Hare and also at Midway, despite some technical issues Southwest Airlines had over the weekend. The Edens is fine. Inbound Eisenhower, just a little heavy past Manheim. Inbound Stevenson, just about a 2-minute delay from Cicero to Kedzie. The Ryan has a 4-minute delay from the Stevenson to downtown. Tollways are fine. Traffic is a service of Fresh Time. Fresh Time Farmers Market. Healthy food, healthy values. This week, tender asparagus is only $1.27 a pound, and fresh salmon fillets only $3.97 a pound. Grand opening prices valid at all 7 Chicagoland locations, and now in Bucktown, Lincoln Park, Crystal Lake, and Naperville. FreshTime.com. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Breezy with partial sunshine today, wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour, high 73. Then for tonight, partly cloudy and breezy, winds gusting up to 30 miles per hour with a low tonight of 48. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560. The Answer.
63 at O'Hare, 64 along the lakefront. Next news at 6:30, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Aging Info Radio. Heard Sunday mornings at 9, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome to your Monday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
Paul Ryan, the consensus candidate, tonight pressured from all sides of the Republican Party on and off Capitol Hill to become Speaker of the House.
You know, American allies, for generations, they are in trouble now, and Obama walks away.
You've got a different definition of leadership. My definition of leadership would be leading on climate change and international accord that potentially will get in Paris.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson. Just to recap, Amy going to Game 3 tonight.
Yes, I am. I'm wearing my Cubby Blue. I thought you were wearing a St. Louis Cardinals shirt. And thank goodness it's the NIU shirt.
Huskies, yeah.
Yeah, go Huskies.
I am wearing red, though.
Yeah,
Read
nice.
into that what you will.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So you're going to Game 3 tonight.
Yeah.
Bought tickets with your link card.
Mm-hmm.
You've already solicited on these airwaves for a sponsor for Game 4.
I'm just saying I'm available. I can pick you up. I can meet you at the game. I could, Uber you. Just, I can meet you at Clark and Addison. The game starts at 3:07 tomorrow. So, well,
very
a lot of people,
accommodating.
Well, a lot of people have to work, and they can't, have the Cubby flu and call in sick and then be spotted on the camera. It's too risky. So I'm just saying I'm available. I could be a seat filler. I'm like a Hollywood extra. I'm there
for
you if you need it.
I'm willing to go to the game. I'm willing to go to Game 4. I'd be willing to. No, I can't do tonight. I'd be willing to go to Game 4. But I need to sit no further than 10 rows from the field between the third base dugout and home plate. And I'll go as much as 1.5 times face value for those seats. So we'll ask Steve, is it Bazil?
Steve Bazil, yes,
Steve
from
Bazil.
sickclose.com.
He's a ticket broker. We're going to have him on the 8 o'clock hour. We'll see if he can accommodate my demands. I don't have fancy friends like Amy Jacobson.
Okay. Well,
I don't have rich people that just give away thousands of dollars worth of tickets, which is what's happening tonight.
Right. Well, I bought it for face value, but yes, he could have sold it for thousands of dollars, and he just decided to give it to somebody who would appreciate the game.
Yeah. And
that's me.
At some point, and that point may never come, he's going to ask you to do a favor.
There's no favors.
It's not Godfather-esque. Okay. And another sports news quickly. I had Ethiopia in my Chicago Marathon Fantasy League, and that fell short.
Yeah, a Kenyan one. The male and females were both Kenyans.
I don't see genders. I don't even know why we have male and female victors. On to more serious matters. So over the weekend, this story broke about the Benghazi committee and Trey Gowdy's committee. And this is, just a little bit in advance of Hillary's testimony before this committee after whatever she has to say about the topic. Yeah, right. Like it's actually going to be asked at the first Democrat presidential debate tomorrow when they pull together that group of misfit toys to have a discussion. But this over the weekend, a former investigator, a staffer on this committee, a gentleman named Bradley Podliska, suggested that he was terminated from his position on the committee because the committee was partisan. He said the committee was a partisan-driven effort to tarnish Hillary Clinton.
Well, why was he relieved of his duties?
Well, this is interesting. Trey Gowdy has responded on point, and then he said, I'm quoting Gowdy, because I don't know him, I can't ever recall speaking to him. I can say for certain he was never instructed by me to focus on Clinton, nor would he be a credible person to speak on my behalf. Podliska, Gowdy said, never mentioned Clinton, and from when he was counseled about his quote-unquote deficient performance to when he was fired and through the entire legal mediation process. He's only mentioned Clinton now. Gowdy said Podliska is running to the press with new salacious allegations after failing to extract money from the committee, some kind of severance deal he's implying. Gowdy said Podliska mishandled classified information and was told as far back as April that he was improperly focused on Clinton and told to stop. So it's actually 180 degrees from what Podliska is saying, at least according to Gowdy. Gowdy said the committee denied Podliska's request to use interns for a project focused on Clinton and the National Security Council, saying Podliska was hired to focus on intelligence, not the politics of White House talking points. So somebody's lying.
Well, I think...
And I don't think it's Trey Gowdy.
No, I don't. I think it's Bradley. I think it's sour grapes, and that's, he's just trying to fit in with the narrative that Hillary Clinton is being attacked by the right.
Yeah. Now,
and it's all political.
Right. And now on the flip side of that, we have Patricia Smith, who is the mother of Sean Smith. He is one of the 4 diplomats that was murdered in Benghazi. She spoke to Martin Savage over the weekend on CNN, again, in near advance of Hillary's appearance before the Benghazi committee. Listen to what she had to say about Hillary and this investigation.
Okay, I've got a lot of thoughts on that. First of all, it is about Hillary. This is her department. It was her area, her bailiwick, and she did all the instruction on what should be done there. Why shouldn't they talk to Hillary about it?
Indeed. So it's pretty common sense. Why shouldn't they talk to Hillary? Why shouldn't she answer questions? It was her department. It was her area. She's the one running around saying, I selected Chris Stevens. Chris Stevens was a friend of mine, with friends like Hillary.
Yeah, and she's, was so upset after his murder that she couldn't go on the 5 talk shows. That's why they had Susan Rice do it. But yeah, is Smith's mother going to be there at the hearings? Is it open to the public? I mean, can she go there and look Hillary or try to make eye contact with her? Well, like, I'm watching you.
Well, listen to this, because she has had contact with Hillary before.
Oh.
And she mentioned that in this interview, and it's not particularly complimentary.
Okay, Hillary is not a wonderful person as far as I'm concerned. She promised me personally a lot of things when I was there in Washington that she never came through and said anything on. She never got back to me. Well, all she ever did was tell me I was not a member of the immediate family. I don't think that's very nice to be talking about a mother that way. But she instructed her department not to tell me anything. So I am very much waiting for this investigation of Benghazi for Trey Gowdy to find out what really happened. Because Hillary has not come back to me and told me that. Mm-hmm. Nobody has.
That is so sad. I mean, as a mother of kids, I mean, can you imagine waiting years? I mean, this attack happened September 11th, 2012. And now it's 2015 and she still doesn't know what happened to her son?
Well, and
or
not,
who's to blame?
Not to mention all of the Stonewall. Well, we know who murdered him, I mean, generally speaking. But yeah, you're right in terms of what the U.S. Response was or even actions taken before the attack. But, you know, it's interesting, too. You can understand her frustration when she reads in the newspapers routinely about stonewalling from the State Department and efforts to politicize the committee by Elijah Cummings. This is why Gowdy wrote that 12-page letter to Elijah Cummings, who's the ranking Democrat on the committee last week, saying, you know, all of your preening and posturing before the media, you know, rallying to Hillary's little campaign spot, you're the one making this political, not me. I think Gowdy has handled himself very well during this process during the last 3 years. I also think that there's very little evidence to support this idea that he has been political, overly political. I mean, everything is political. We're talking about congressional committee. It's by definition political. I'm not going to pretend there's not politics involved. There's politics involved. But to pretend that this is something other than at the fundamental level, a search for what happened. Remember, this is something that Hillary even conceded during her testimony previously, where she uttered the famous, at this point, what difference does it make? If you remember what she said before, at this point, what difference does it make? She said, yes, it's important we do this to find out what we can do better in the future. Well, what's wrong with that? And why shouldn't Patricia Smith, Sean Smith's mom, know what happened? And by the way, her reference to her not being considered a member of the immediate family. What the hell is that?
It's his mother. There's no more immediate than that. End of discussion. And Hillary Clinton, who cares so much about women's rights and women's issues, and she's so caring and a doting grandmother and a loving mother, she treats her like that?
Yeah, we all have a right to know, but Patricia Smith particularly has a right to know, and she makes that clear.
That's because Hillary's not answering anything. If she would have opened up her email thing so that we can find out what she said at that time, I understand she was talking to Obama while this was going on. I want to know, was she talking to Obama? I want to hear from her lips what she said. I want to be able to find out. So far, they have treated me like dirt and will not tell me anything. I want to know stuff. I am a mother. I deserve to know. I should not be treated like dirt like this.
Good for her.
Yeah, and a sad commentary of this administration. Even if you're a leftist and this is all just politics, this is so much kabuki theater by the right and this and that. You tell me, why shouldn't Mrs. Smith have her questions answered? Why shouldn't those conversations at this juncture be disclosed? Why shouldn't Hillary be put before the committee to answer questions?
Why does she have to wait for a congressional hearing to hear about if her son's death or murder could have been prevented? Because it doesn't fit the narrative with Hillary.
Well, Hillary says
she's hiding.
She says she's very excited. She's eager to appear before this Benghazi committee. Let's see if she feels that way after she appears.
With all due respect, what difference at this point does it make?
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
That desertion dilemma with Bo Bergdahl. We're learning this morning that he may not be going to jail after all. We'll have the story and take your calls 312-642-5600. But first, here's your forecast. Just a gorgeous day for your Columbus Day. Mostly sunny skies, breezy, a high of 73 degrees. Tomorrow, the sunshine will be here, but it will be cooler, a high of 61. Let's get the travel times on this Columbus Day. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. And Dan, in most places, traffic is a good bit lighter than usual for this hour. It is slow on the outbound Kennedy from Montrose to O'Hare, especially slow on westbound 190 from the Kennedy to the terminal area. Right now, it's 36 minutes downtown to the airport. Inbound 20 to 21 minutes. The Edens is fine. Inbound Eisenhower just a little heavy past Manheim, but so far it's much lighter than normal. The Stevenson inbound has about a 2-minute delay. Pulaski to Kedzie outbound. It's slow First Avenue to near the Des Plaines River Bridge. Jackknife semi-trailer blocking the right lane. Got about a 5-minute delay. Only mild delays on the inbound Rye, I-57, Bishop Ford Freeway, eastbound Adams Tollway, just a little sluggish, Roselle to Meacham. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
For a long time, Turnkey IT has been providing solutions to AM 560 business owners. It's a name that you have come to know and trust. Turnkey IT takes care of your technology and has a plan that fits your company's IT budget and network needs. Are you interested in moving some or all of your business to the cloud? Turnkey IT can migrate your network to Microsoft's Office 365. Do you need someone to call when you can't print, have a lost file, or need tech support? Turnkey IT's got you covered. Offsite backup, check. Onsite support, check. Help desk support, check. Turnkey IT staff is professional, friendly, punctual, and will solve all of your technical problems immediately or even after normal business hours, all for a fixed monthly rate. Turnkey IT knows your network is truly the heartbeat of your company, so focus on your business and leave the technical stuff to the pros. Visit turnkey.pro today for a plan that fits your needs. That's turnkey.pro.
I'm Lex, CEO of Balance of Nature. At Balance of Nature, we believe in real communication. Whether you call into the office or hear a success story on the radio, you can be sure it's real, unsolicited, and unscripted conversation.
I was on thyroid medicine for 5 years. I have completely got off of it, and all my blood work came back excellent.
It does a lot of good for me because I feel it works. The reason why I'm taking it because I've got Hep C. Once I began taking your stuff, it took a few months, but believe it or not, my liver enzymes are way down and it's normal now.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
Missing teeth can cause embarrassing gaps in your smile. They can even cause problems with chewing or talking. You probably feel self-conscious, and maybe you've been considering dental implants for a while, but you have concerns. Don't let fear stand in your way to gaining your beautiful smile back. Dr. Joel Akrush and his caring team at Artistic Dentistry understands that most people don't like to go to the dentist. For the last 23 years, Dr. Akrush has helped ease the concerns of more than 11,000 satisfied patients. He focuses on creating custom dental implants that look just like your natural teeth. The entire procedure is completed at one location with one doctor. Artistic Dentistry uses a state-of-the-art CBCT scan, which allows Dr. Akrush to customize your smile with precision planning, allowing for immediate use and quick healing. Get the smile you've always wanted. Call Artistic Dentistry now at 708-301-6060 or log on to donewithdentures.com. That's donewithdentures.com. Artistic Dentistry, serving the south and southwest suburbs for more than 23 years.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy. So, Bo Bergdahl is not going to get Eddie Slovic, or really more or less even prosecuted in any serious manner.
Well, the Army hearing officer recommends no jail time for Bo Bergdahl. And he's clearly a deserter. It's something that he had planned to do, believe it or not, weeks before abandoning his post. People died searching for him. I mean, this guy is a deserter in every sense of the word. And he's not going to be punished for it.
Misdemeanor level forum, kind of a lower level court-martial is what's being recommended. Limits the maximum punishment for Bergdahl to reduction in rank, a bad conduct discharge, and a term of up to a year in prison. However, his defense attorney has said the prosecuting attorney in the case, Lieutenant Colonel Mark Visker, is recommending there be no prison time or punitive discharge against Bergdahl.
Is that fair? Has justice been served? 312-642-5600. I mean, I want to take you back into the time machine when this happened, when he was they thought kidnapped by the Taliban. Turns out that he just walked on over to their side, and soldiers died looking for him.
He deserted his post willfully and purposely.
He left on his own accord. He was attempting to contact the Taliban on his own accord.
He didn't want to be found, and so we were chasing a ghost around eastern Afghanistan for at least 90 days immediately following his disappearance.
People's lives were lost because we were searching for him.
I just don't want to see him hailed as a hero. I believe he should have a trial
for what he did.
He is not a hero.
No, he's not a hero. He's anything but. Sergeant Evan Buteau, who was Bergdahl's former team leader, said, the fact of the matter is, when those soldiers were killed, the 6 U.S. soldiers that were killed looking for Bergdahl, the fact of the matter is, when those soldiers were killed, they would not have been where they were if Bergdahl had not have left. Bergdahl leaving changed the mission.
I mean, there was the reason why people said we hope they don't hold him as a hero. But remember, all those movie stars at the Grammys, they had those Bring Bo Bergdahl Back bracelets on. It was such a joke. His dad, who converted to Muslim to try and save his son and was talking, with his son's captors. And the whole thing is just a joke because he was a deserter, but President Obama didn't make us believe that he was. He was a hero. This prisoner of war, we need to get him out.
So we gave away the Taliban 5 to get this guy back. I wonder if that prisoner exchange has anything to do with his rather soft prosecution, in my estimation. We gave away the Taliban 5 senior-level terrorist commanders, and he indirectly cost the lives of 6 American soldiers, and he's going to get a reduction in rank and a bad conduct discharge for the actions that gave rise to those events. I mean, it's
well, who knows that he's not even going to go join the fight again here?
Well,
I mean, seriously, he hasn't talked to his parents yet, and his parents worked so hard to bring him back.
The issue is punishment for what he did.
Okay,
let's keep it to punishment for what he did, and not what he may do. Here's the problem, and we've talked about this all the time. Of course, we respect and admire our military men and women, but at the leadership level, I think particularly under this president, the military has been infected, and it is a disease, with political correctness, same way that civilian society has. Think of college campuses. We have that same lobotomized mentality manifesting itself among in the leadership ranks in our military. It's tragic. I mean, Fort Hood and the report they did on Fort Hood, that was a whitewash. This is going to be another whitewash. There was the story last week, I mean, just as a quick aside, U.S. Navy teaching members to combat male privilege. The U.S. Navy is teaching members, naval men and women, to combat male privilege. The Navy's Bureau of Medicine and Surgery has issued a warning about male privilege.
What the heck is that?
I don't know, but I know they issued 2 charts. There's a power and control wheel and an equality wheel. These are the instructional tools. It's, by the way, go to the Navy's website. You can see it, power and control and an equality wheel. The male privilege portion of the power and control wheel includes these examples of bad male privilege. Treating her list, meaning a female officer's list or female enlistee's list, a servant, making all the big decisions, acting like the master of the castle, being the one to define men's and women's roles. The narrative, and this is not limited to their combat duty. Listen to this. This is also about just their life. The narrative document lists these stereotypical examples of male privilege. He refuses to pick up milk on his way home because it's women's work. When he came,
in God's name,
this is the U.S. Navy.
Aren't they in a ship anyway, and they can't go to the store? No, I'm kidding.
We're prepared to take on Putin. When he came home yesterday, he was driving a brand new truck. I told him we needed something the whole family couldn't fit in, but he didn't listen to me. Are these men and women in our armed services, or are these kindergartners?
Wow. Is there more?
He doesn't mind his friends being at the house at all hours of the night, but he says my Sunday brunch friends talk too much and are no longer welcome. This is what you have naval officers instructing men and women in the U.S. Navy. The power and control wheel and the equality wheel. We have no justice, apparently, not for Major Hassan and those victims at Fort Hood, not for the 6 soldiers that were murdered, killed in battle.
Looking for Bergdahl.
And we gave terrorists away as a kicker. Oh, boy.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one. Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Imagine what you would do if your business had a surplus of utility savings. More than 30% of your building's annual energy use comes from your heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system. Air Comfort, Chicagoland's leading mechanical service provider, understands that you have better things to do with your money. There are new energy incentives offered by Chicagoland's largest utility provider that could help your business save hundreds, even thousands of dollars every month in utility costs. As a preferred partner, Air Comfort works closely with your business. They will identify the opportunities to reduce energy usage, select, purchase, and install equipment, and even help you complete and submit your incentive paperwork. Start saving on your utilities by calling now for your free consultation at 708-345-1900. That's 708-345-1900 or online at aircomfort.com. Air Comfort, a tradition of excellence since 1935.
Get out and have some fun. Visit ChicagoRadioDeals.com for a fun night out on the town. Grab your sweet Caroline and make a date to listen to your favorite music. Direct from Branson, Missouri is Denny Diamond and the Jewels, featuring the music, of course, of Neil Diamond. Normally $76 for lunch and a show for two. It's only $39 at ChicagoRadioDeals.com. Or head downtown for some laughs. $22 will get you a pair of tickets to Comedy Sports Chicago. It's a unique blend of fast and funny improv comedy that's appropriate for all ages. This Laugh Out Loud show features two improv teams that play games on stage with a referee, and the audience is in on it for the fun. Or hit the waves and take advantage of the Sea Dog Extreme Thrill Ride on the lakefront, or a lake and architectural tour awaits you as well, all from Entertainment Cruise Lines. And if you want to get out of town, well, then escape to Wisconsin, purchase an overnight stay at the Schuster Mansion in Milwaukee. So check in every week for fun and adventure with your family and friends only at ChicagoRadioDeals.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Great text from 630. Obama administration lets deserters go and charges soldiers who stop pedophiles, and they claim the right is extreme. Yes, indeed.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, she's back.
And it's going to be fun. Jennifer Flowers gives a much anticipated interview. We'll have it.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say hello to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Mostly clear skies, 62 degrees, and winds are out of the south at 13. And they hand out the Nobel Prize in Economics this morning.
The Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences has today decided to award the Sveriges Riksbank Prize in Economic Sciences in memory of Alfred Nobel to Angus Deaton for his analysis of consumption, poverty, and welfare.
He may be a Princeton professor, but with the first name Angus, you know he's English. A Tennessee police officer is dead after being shot yesterday afternoon. It may have started as a dispute with a neighbor. Officer Terrence Ulridge was shot and killed in Cordova. One person is in custody. Democrats gearing up for tomorrow's first presidential debate on their side. CNN has set the stage for the Democrats. Hillary Clinton in the center. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders and former Maryland Governor Martin O'Malley will be alongside. The bookends, Jim Webb and Lincoln Chafee. President Obama sees Russian President Vladimir Putin and his actions in Syria as a sign of weakness.
If you think that running your economy into the ground and having to send troops in order to prop up your only ally is leadership, then we've got a different definition of leadership.
Meantime, Democrat presidential candidate Bernie Sanders says the president's plan to arm rebels in Syria has failed.
What the president has tried to do is thread a very, very difficult needle, and that is keep American troops from engaging in combat and getting killed there, and I think that is the right thing to do.
Sanders on NBC's Meet the Press. Teachers in McHenry are set for a ratification vote on a new contract today that could put an end to a strike in High School District 156. Baseball fans ready for the shifting of the NLDS to Wrigley Field. First pitch set at 5:07 in that best-of-5 series this afternoon. 3 men are recovering after being shot on a party bus. Police say the shooting happened early Sunday morning when a man pulled out a handgun during a fight on that bus in the 1100 block of South Jefferson. Bears winners over Kansas City, 18-17. NBA preseason, New Orleans and the Bulls tangle later tonight. The news, a service of Illinois Partners for Clean Air. Why stress over parking, traffic, and gas prices You've got endless options available with public transit. Get on board with saving time, money, and improving air quality. Learn to breathe easy and save easy with Illinois Partners for Clean Air at cleantheair.org. Check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager explains what's wrong with liberal thinking.
So Raul Castro, the dictator, got up and he said, we have to pay reparations to Cuba. This is the scenario as painted by the world's left. The problems of Cuba emanate from the American boycott, not from the totalitarian communist regime.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer is the top choice of doctors and nurses nationwide and should be yours. With one scan to the forehead, Exergen Temporal Scanner provides an accurate temperature, stress-free. Available at Walgreens.
The following is a paid political announcement.
I'm Willie Wilson, candidate for President of the United States. As President, I pledge to help small businesses grow.
Paid for by Willie Wilson 2016.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, a family tradition since 1897.
Listen to AM 560 on your mobile device. Now available on iHeartRadio. Online at iHeartRadio.com.
I'm terrible with money. Apparently, a PhD in physics won't help me predict the trajectory of my own retirement. So I work with TIAA-CREF. You get quality, personalized advice no matter what your balance is. For me, they make investing as easy as Newtonian physics.
Advice for everyone. One more way TIAA-CREF is created to serve and built to perform. Visit TIAA.org. TIAA-CREF Individual and Institutional Services, LLC. This testimonial is an actor portrayal. Advice is subject to institutional plan rules. Investing involves risk. Individual results will vary.
6:36 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The northbound tri-state is getting heavy. Ogden to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to Grand Avenue. Eastbound Adams Tollway slow Roselle to 53. Eden's inbound are now delays starting around Oakton. 26 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 19. Kennedy, 23 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 45. The Eisenhower, 35 minutes. Thorndale to the Loop, outbound 30. Stevenson, 38 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound. Really jammed from Harlem to near the Des Plaines River Bridge. Jackknife Semi just cleared out of the right lanes. Those delays should start to dissipate. The Ryan is 19 minutes, 95th to downtown. Traffic service at Flu Block. Bet you didn't know you had a choice in flu vaccines. This season, choose Flu Block, the only flu vaccine that is free of things like formaldehyde. Now available at Target and your local retailers like Roundy's and Mariano's pharmacies. For more information, go to askforflublock.com or talk to your healthcare professional. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the AirComfort.com Weather Center, Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Partly sunny and breezy today. 73. Partly cloudy and breezy, 48 overnight. 62 at O'Hare. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Money Hour Radio Show, Saturday afternoons at 3 on AM 560 The Answer. Brought to you by Pure Shale Financial Group.
Your money. Find out how to keep more of it and live debt-free. Tonight on The Dave Ramsey Show, starting at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
Dan and Amy. Amy, I just want to note for the record, somebody took pity on me after hearing about how you were going to be going to the game tonight with your fancy friends.
In my fancy car.
And your fancy seats.
My fancy clothes.
And I was just offered 2 rooftop tickets for tonight's game.
Really?
From a friend of mine, yeah.
Oh, let me guess. It's right behind in left field. Behind the Jumbotron, that rooftop, those seats are going fast.
I don't know exactly. I mean, you know. I'm like a Cubs fan, though. I'm not there for the game. I'm there for the camaraderie.
Yeah. Oh, the party.
Yeah.
World's largest beer garden.
Yeah, I'm just another Sigma Chi holdout. Oh, gosh. Oh, what is the world coming to?
You're not going to go, are you? Don't take the seat away from a real Cubs fan. I mean, that's not. Because but during the World Series,
what about a real Cardinals fan?
The ALCS and the L Division Series, that whole thing in 2005. Beth Murphy was always there.
From Murphy's Bleachers?
Yeah, and I'm like, why are you here? You're not, I mean, seriously, Beth, why, off camera here, like, what are you doing here? She said, well, I'm just taking the seat away from a Sox fan.
Oh,
I'm like, wow,
punitive.
that is evil.
Well, I'm glad the Ricketts are taking her rooftop away. How about that?
So
Turnabout's fair play.
Wait, 'cause she was at every home game
Yeah.
in the fancy seats.
There were Cubs at the Cardinals game. What's wrong with that?
There were what?
There was Cubs fans at the Cardinals game.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
So one big melting pot.
Uh-huh.
By the way, did you hear during the break? Willie Wilson commercial.
For president?
Willie Wilson is running for president. And why isn't he in tomorrow's debate? Are the Democrats racist?
That's right.
I mean, seriously, Lincoln Chafee is at the debate. Now, I don't know how much of the debate is going to be devoted to conversion to the metric system. I don't know. I mean, maybe that'll be a significant part of it. But why Lincoln Chafee is registering 0.0? Why is Lincoln Chafee, who lives in Canada, why is he at the debate stage and Willie Wilson isn't? I want Willie Wilson in that debate tomorrow. And we need to start a hashtag campaign and a petition drive and a protest movement to get Willie Wilson on that debate stage tomorrow.
We still have time.
If he's good enough for mayor of Chicago, he's certainly good enough for the Democrat primary for president. Willie Wilson.
Who knew?
Focusing on that. All right, we'll get back to Willie Wilson. But here's some more fun in advance of tomorrow's first Democrat presidential debate. Jennifer Flowers is back.
Uh-oh.
Oh, boy.
How does she look? Of course, it's such a chick question.
I don't know.
Does she look good?
It was a radio interview.
Oh, okay. We'll find that. I'm going to Google image her, and
Yeah.
I'll let you know what I think if she's dateable or not, okay?
Dateable?
Well, if she still has it going on. She's not ugly.
Yeah.
She's not like that other one, Paula. Remember her?
Okay, James Carville, take it easy. So I actually saw Jennifer Flowers perform because, she's a...
Excuse me, Dan.
No, not in that.
Come on.
Please, get your mind out of the gutter. She's a recording artist, don't you know?
I didn't know that.
She's a jazz singer. So, yeah, she's in the entertainment business.
Does she play the saxophone or?
Hi-yo.
Hey.
Yeah. I was in New Orleans for a friend's wedding, and she...
were.
Well...
Sorry. Okay. I'll let you tell your story.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
I was there to see how many beads I could get. She was performing at a little jazz club right across the street from the hotel that I was staying at, or down the block from the hotel I was staying at. So I actually saw her perform. And I'm not a huge jazz fan. I'm more of a blues guy. But I can tell you that it was terrible.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm a big enough fan of and have enough respect for jazz to be able to offer that commentary. But Jennifer Flowers has some commentary of her own during this interview that she gave where she's breaking her silence. You know why she's breaking her silence? Because she's got a book coming out.
Oh, there you go.
Are you ready for the
title?
The tentative title for her forthcoming book?
All right, hold on. Yeah.
And I thought this was going to be the Amy Jacobson autobiography title, but it's not.
Okay.
At least she beat you to the punch, so you better chop. The tentative title to Jennifer Flowers' forthcoming book, this is not a joke. Men are like pantyhose. Some fit the crotch and some don't. I mean,
that is not.
Woo-wee.
No.
You can take You can take the girls out of Arkansas.
But you can't take
No,
Arkansas.
I'm not going to cast that kind of aspersion on the women of Arkansas. I don't think they're represented by Hillary or Jennifer Flowers.
And what's the premise of the book, Dan?
Her life and
Her
times.
sexual escapades and
life and times. She's just trying to learn to love again.
She's not aging well, by the way.
Neither is Bill.
No, Bill looks better than she does. This woman's clearly over Botox.
Well, if she was making $750,000 a speech, then she would probably look better too.
She'd
She'd
get
have
a better
time to
plastic surgeon?
Yeah, she'd have free time to take
Woo.
care of herself.
Ouch.
So here's Jennifer, just reprising some Jennifer classics, talking about Bill's women.
Well, let me say this first about all of these names coming out. I want to make a couple points. One is that Monica and I are the only two women that Bill has admitted to.
That's right.
I don't know the other ladies personally. Perhaps their stories are legitimate. I don't know that. But just because we're women doesn't make our stories less important. Our stories should come back up.
Yeah. What about that? What about, all the women that to take at face value that are Cosby accusers?
Oh, I watched that Dateline special on Friday night.
Catherine Willey and all the other women, Juanita Broderick, Paula Jones. Why shouldn't we take their stories, treat them in the same vein that we treat the stories of other accusers in the old media and stuff? Why not?
I wonder why they didn't gather them all in a room like they did the Cosby accusers and have them tell them their stories.
And that may be forthcoming because don't forget Catherine Willey is part of a super PAC.
Oh, that's right.
So yeah, this could be really fun. It's almost enough to root for Hillary to be the nominee, just to see what these ladies might do. So that was Jennifer Flowers on Bill's women. Here's Jennifer Flowers on Hillary's women.
Are there stories about Hillary's women that you know of?
I haven't heard any stories about that, and I've been pretty amazed that I haven't.
Mm-hmm.
Because typically,
wait for it.
Something at some point comes out. I know that Bill acknowledged to me that he was aware that she had a propensity for women, and he didn't care. I'm not saying that she is a lesbian, but he acknowledged that she, as we say down in Arkansas, took a liking to women. So why something hasn't come out on that, that's amazing.
Wow. So that
yeah, how about that
pantsuit thing?
I don't want to turn this into TMZ, but I mean, Jennifer Flowers is entitled to her say.
She has a fixin' for the ladies. Maybe she just enjoys. Yeah. Maybe she just enjoys the company of women.
Well, I mean, she did go to Wellesley.
Okay.
I'd like to enter that into evidence. Market Exhibit A.
I thought you were going to mention the pantsuits.
Well,
look a little masculine.
So I don't care.
She does routinely go to Indigo Girls concerts.
I know her hairdresser. When she comes to Chicago, she sees one hairdresser, the same person, and they're trying to give her a softer, more feminine look, but
keep trying.
Then she goes to other towns and has somebody else work on her hair. And then she goes back to...
Is that some kind of metaphor?
No. Maybe she just likes going in salons.
I'll tell you what, in addition to... if I can get off this topic.
Yes.
In addition to her comments on the Clintons, Jennifer Flowers also had some commentary on one Donald Trump.
Oh. Uh-oh. Were they ever together?
Listen to this endorsement. This could be in a Trump commercial forthcoming.
What do I make of it? I find it very interesting, to say the least. I mean, the whole, the Republicans and, of course, Hillary running, all of this is just great stuff. Love Donald Trump because I think the American public is looking for a combination of Ronald Reagan and John Wayne.
Right.
We want somebody to ride in there and to save us, and Lord knows we need that.
Wow. Trump is a combination of Reagan and John Wayne. He's not going to get a better compliment than that from anyone other than perhaps himself.
And he'll love that.
We'll continue to follow Jennifer Flowers and her musings on politics and Hillary.
She posed for Penthouse back in the day. And
sure.
Oh, she's stayed very active, Dan.
And again, look forward to this forthcoming piece of literature. Men are like pantyhose.
No.
Some fit the crotch and some don't. The Jennifer Flowers story.
We are going to find the biggest, ugliest, meanest lesbian on this planet.
Hillary Clinton would never do this.
She's not a lesbian.
Yeah, I know, but would you fight her?
Not without weapons.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up next, an SNL moment that nobody on the left is talking about. But first, here's your forecast today. Partly sunny, unseasonably warm, and we'll take it. A high of 73 degrees. And then tomorrow, sunshine, breezy, but a lot cooler. A high, if we're lucky, of 61. Let's get the travel times on this Columbus Day. Is there anything to talk about, Jim Telemonte?
A little bit, Amy. On the near northwest side, there's some heavy traffic on Chicago Avenue right near Carpenter. Carpenter's blocked off there, where another late-grade Italian, St. Maria Goretti's remains are being honored at St. John Cantius, so it's heavy on Chicago Avenue. The outbound Kennedy, heavy as usual on a Monday morning, not quite as bad as usual due to the holiday. It's 46 minutes downtown to O'Hare. Still stop and go on westbound 190 from the Kennedy to the terminal area at O'Hare. The inbound Kennedy's 27 minutes O'Hare to downtown. Eden's inbound, got a 5-minute delay. Pratt to the junction. Inbound Ike, just a 5 or 6 minute delay. Manheim to Harlem, and outbound about the same from Laramie to Des Plaines Avenue. The Stevenson, 38 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 44. Loosening up now, approaching the Des Plaines River Bridge. There was an earlier jackknife semi. The Ryan is 19 minutes, 95th to downtown. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
So I don't care.
Now it's time for the Lou Dobbs Financial Report, brought to you by the Mutual Fund Store.
I'm Val Dior in for Lou Dobbs. Corporate headlines and the Federal Reserve in focus on Wall Street, and we're keeping an eye on crude oil prices. Those stories next.
See something, smell something, do something. When your basement or crawl space smells, don't ignore it. Odors, mold, and harmful pollutants come from too much moisture and not enough air circulation, making your home unhealthy. It's time to do something. Experts and the EPA advise ventilation instead of dehumidifiers as a more efficient way of reducing moisture and improving indoor air quality. Wave ventilation continuously expels damp, polluted air, drying out your basement or crawl space and transforming the entire house into a fresher, healthier environment year-round. Wave costs only pennies a day to operate, and there are no buckets to empty. Don't use an energy-guzzling dehumidifier which still leaves you with poor air quality and odors. Put the sensible Wave technology in your home today. Call 1-888-798-WAVE. That's 1-888-798-WAVE. Or visit mydryhouse.com. That's mydryhouse.com.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
Investors hoping to build on last week's solid gains, the S&P 500 coming off its strongest weekly performance of the year. With no major reports due out on our economy, investors will be giving extra weight to corporate developments and comments out of the Federal Reserve. Fed officials Evans and Lockhart discussing economic policy and the economy. We'll see whether their comments confirm or run contrary to expectations that the Fed will not raise interest rates until next year. We could see some hesitation in the market ahead of earnings report due out later this week. Johnson & Johnson, CSX, Intel, and JP Morgan Chase posting quarterly results tomorrow. And we're keeping an eye on the crude market. Falling oil rigs in operation in the U.S. helping drive crude prices 9% higher last week. October crude begins this week near $50 a barrel. Please tune in to Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 and 11 p.m. Eastern on the Fox Business Network. I'm Val Dior for the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
My brother Chris is allergic to talking about retirement. Bring up his future and you'll get glazed eyes and awkward answers. Don't believe me? Let's try it. Chris, when will you retire?
Ha! You darn right I like nachos.
See what I mean? Chris, do you have a retirement account?
It's gotta be the right kind of cheese.
One last time. Are you ever going to retire?
And don't forget jalapenos. I love jalapenos.
Good for you, buddy.
Avoiding the retirement conversation? At the Mutual Fund Store, we get it, and our advisors are here to help. Whether you're storing 401k statements in a shoebox, can't tell a traditional from a Roth IRA, or include piggy bank as one of your retirement accounts, there are no judgments here. We'll simply sit down with you one-on-one, talk about where you're at, and help you put a plan in place to get you where you want to be tomorrow. Let's get the conversation started today with a free consultation.
Hi, I'm Steve Check with the Mutual Fund Store in Chicagoland. Call me at 888-498-3636 or visit mutualfundstore.com and let's talk about your financial goals today.
AST for Industry. This is John Haidt. My company is Anti-Seize Technology. We are the company behind hundreds of products used by industry and manufacturing worldwide. For over 35 years, my local company has made lubricants, adhesives, and sealants. I put my products up against any other company for quality and value. That's why we say AST for Industry.
Your maintenance crew can save time, money, and your equipment. Slick-On Flow Lube is a superior spray-on industrial lubrication for your sliding, rolling, squeaky, turning, press-fitting needs. Slick-On Flow Lube keeps your equipment in service and reduces costly breakdowns. Slick-On Flow Lube is a great product for your maintenance team from Anti-Seize Technology.
We will prove products from Anti-Seize Technology are better for your industry. Contact us for a demonstration. Go to AST4Industry.com. Remember, AST4Industry.com. Check out our line of lubricants, adhesives, and sealants for your company. AST4Industry.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Oh, yeah. Saturday Night Live. Do you watch it? Did you watch Saturday Nights?
No.
Well, Amy Schumer, who is Chuck Schumer's niece. You know who Chuck Schumer is.
Yes. And I know who Amy Schumer is.
Yes.
Sometimes she's funny. Most of the time, she's just kind of disgusting.
Well, I thought she knocked it out of the park during her monologue. She was talking about a need for good female role models for young girls because, all we have or all the young girls have are the Kardashians.
We have to be a role model for these little girls because who do they have? All they have literally is the Kardashians. And she doesn't have a Malala poster in her room, trust me. And is that a great message for little girls? A whole family of women who take the faces they were born with as like a light suggestion? Is that great? No. And like like, we used to have Chloe, you know? Chloe was ours, right? Whenever there's a group of women.
So it was cute. And then, you know, she brought up Hillary Clinton, that she recently got a chance to meet Hillary Clinton, and she did not get the response that she was expecting.
She's got some good role. I just met Hillary Clinton. Yeah, I was pretty psyched about that. And a little discouraging, the amount of applause. But, come on, Hill. But I was like, oh my God, I have to ask her a question. I had like a couple of minutes with her. So I was like, do you drink? And she's like, yeah, I do, but, you know, it's hard because I'm busy. And I'm like, me too, I get it. And I'm like, what do you drink? And she was like, oh, vodka, and I like beer and wine. I'm like, well, what about tequila? And she's like, oh, I don't really like tequila. I only drink it when my friends make me. I'm like, make you? Like, who's hazing Hillary Clinton? Like a rail shot of tequila, like, take the shot, you bitch. Who's doing that?
Are you laughing?
Lame.
It's funny. It's not lame, but she was expecting the crowd to, you know, just stand up on their feet. Like, I met Hillary Clinton. Woo!
I'm encouraged by the SNL audience reaction, the very tempered reaction to Hillary Clinton.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Mr. Spencer. I hope this email finds you well.
Hey, Donna.
What was that?
Your sleep.
My sleep? Where are you?
Good question. You look like crap, by the way.
Hey!
Just saying. I'd like to help, but you sleep on that busted pillow from college, and it's keeping me away.
I'm sleeping.
Oh, so you meant to put on 2 different shoes this morning. Rear end that cop. And call your boss Cheryl.
We're on a first-name basis.
His name is Larry.
Oh.
Get a MyPillow, Donna.
Your pillow?
No, MyPillow. It's a pillow customized to you, so it's yours. But it's called MyPillow because... Just get it.
Fine. Then we'll see how smart you are. Sleep?
Yes, we will. Person talking to invisible nothingness.
Try the adjustable, washable, incredibly comfortable MyPillow and get the sleep you've been missing, whether you know it or not.
Okay, let's regroup on Wednesday. Donna, get some sleep.
I'm on it, Cheryl.
Make your pillow MyPillow.
For the buy one, get one free offer, visit MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201 and use the promo code AMY.
Do shopping online and using public Wi-Fi make you vulnerable to identity theft? Does giving out your social security number put you at risk? Is your dog at risk of identity theft? Yes, yes, and no. Your dog has absolutely nothing to worry about. But we do live in a world that can expose a lot of personal information, and that can lead to having your identity stolen and losing everything you've worked for. That's why at LifeLock we use proprietary technology to detect a wide variety of threats. And unlike free credit monitoring services, we have a dedicated US-based staff to help restore your identity if it ever is compromised. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses. But if you ask yourself whether you're worth protecting with the best, isn't the answer a resounding yes? Plans start at $9.99 a month, and now you can get 10% off. Go to LifeLock.com and use promo code NEWS.
My name is David Hochberg, and I'm Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. That's right, I'm now Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, give me a call. I'm the same guy that's provided listeners with honest advice and outstanding customer service for the past 13 years. The only thing that's changed is where I work. When you needed help refinancing after the Big Corner Bank messed up your loan, even though you've heard thousands of my ads telling you not to waste your time at the Big Corner Bank, you called me and I helped you. If you would like to talk to me about a mortgage, please give me a call at 312-751-1333. That's 312-751-1333. Email me at david@pearldavid.com. That's david@PERLDavid.com. Or visit my website, am560david.com. 312-751-1333. Pearl Mortgage is an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee, 4358, licensed by DBO under California RMLA and MLS 19186. PearlMortgage.com licensing.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll review the episode of The Walking Dead called The Democrat Presidential Debate with Alexis Simendinger from RealClearPolitics.com at 7:07.
And he's out of jail, tanned, ready, and rested. Former Governor George Ryan breaks his silence. But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, McHenry County teachers set to vote on a new contract. A technical glitch causing delays on Southwest Airlines throughout the weekend. It may impact your morning commute at Midway. A Berwyn man dies in a skydiving accident. And the Bears beat the Chiefs in dramatic fashion over the weekend while Kenyan runners dominate the Chicago Marathon. Partly sunny and breezy today. We'll have a high of 73. A complete look at weather after Fox News. WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. An American journalist jailed in Iran as an accused spy for more than a year, reportedly convicted at his secret trial. Fox News Radio's Jessica Gallagher live in our Middle East bureau.
Dave, a spokesman for the Iranian judiciary, says Jason Rezaian has been convicted of espionage and other charges, adding Rezaian and his lawyer have 20 days to appeal the verdict. Rezaian's lawyer says she hasn't received that verdict. The Washington Post bureau chief reportedly faces up to 20 years in prison. The U.S. and rights groups have strongly condemned the trial and charges. Dave.
Jessica, they keep using backup computer systems, so Southwest Airlines is urging people flying today to print boarding passes at home and arrive 2 hours early. No big delays are reported now. More than 400 flights were affected yesterday, frustrating flyers.
I'm just going back and forth between having them tell me to call the number and then go to the desk.
President Obama says Hillary Clinton, using private email while his Secretary of State, did not pose a national security problem. He tells CBS 60 Minutes.
She made a mistake. She's acknowledged it. I do think that the way it's been ginned up is in part because of politics.
Now, Clinton leads the latest CBS presidential poll at 46%, 19 points ahead of Bernie Sanders. Vice President Biden, who hasn't decided if he'll run, is at 16%. Donald Trump leads the Republican race still. If you get Social Security, you likely won't be getting a raise next year. Fox News Radio's Jared Halpern explains live from Washington.
It's called COLA, a cost of living adjustment. It usually increases for recipients of Social Security, disabled veterans, and federal retirees. But for just the third time in the last 40 years, there will be no increase next year. Economists point to low gas prices, a key factor in the Consumer Price Index that measures inflation. And inflation has been so low this year that prices have actually dropped. Congress tied Social Security increases to inflation in 1975. Dave.
Jared, a Princeton professor, just won the Nobel Prize for Economics. Angus Deaton is from Scotland, honored for his analysis of poverty and welfare. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Mostly clear skies, sunrise in Chicago, 62 degrees, winds out of the south at 13. Teachers in McHenry are set to vote on ratifying a new contract today that could finally put an end to a strike. The school board and union representing educators for District 156 reached a tentative agreement last Friday. Travelers flying Southwest Airlines could be waiting this morning following technical glitches that caused hundreds of delays across the country over the weekend. No big problems at Midway Airport this morning reported, but make sure you arrive a couple of hours ahead of your scheduled departure and, again, print that boarding pass at home. Baseball fans here in Chicago on the north side ready to shift the NLDS to Wrigley. Anthony Rizzo, Cubs first baseman, with reporters yesterday.
We got to score some runs, and Walker's going to come out, with his best stuff. But we give Jake an early lead like we want to do with every one of our pitchers and let him do his thing.
Cardinals and Cubs tied at 1 game each in their best-of-5 National League Division Series. First pitch at 5:07. 3 men are recovering after being shot on a party bus. It happened last night late Saturday night and early Sunday morning in the 1100 block of South Jefferson Street. All 3 victims were taken to the hospital in stable condition. A 65-year-old suburban man has died following a skydiving accident in Ottawa. LaSalle County sheriffs say Richard Gomez of Berwyn was pronounced dead at the scene. Sheriff's office is investigating along with the FAA. And the FAA is investigating after a small plane made an emergency landing in Batavia. Officials say the aircraft came down yesterday in a field near Fermilab after developing engine trouble. There were no injuries reported. Dixon Chumba broke away from a 3-man pack in the 23rd mile and easily outdistanced the field for his first Chicago Marathon title on Sunday. Florence Kiplagat won the women's race unofficially in 2:23:33. Bears beat Kansas City 18-17. Jay Cutler leading the way with a pair of fourth-quarter touchdowns. The news, a service of Flublok. I bet you didn't know that if you had a choice in flu vaccines, you could choose Flublok, the only flu vaccine that is free of things like formaldehyde. Now available at Target and your local retailers like Roundy's and Mariano's pharmacies. For more information, go to askforflublok.com or talk to your healthcare professional. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity doesn't believe Hillary's new persona.
She's going to make a concerted effort on the campaign trail now to be funny, to be warm, to be transparent. Just because she says it doesn't make it true. She's not funny, she's not a warm person, and she's not somebody that has a lot of fidelity to the truth. I mean, it's the exact opposite.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
The following is a paid political announcement.
I'm Willie Wilson, candidate for President of the United States. As President, I will make economic empowerment a priority.
Paid for by Willie Wilson 2016.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas. Best beans, best roast, best coffee.
At TIAA Craft, our record sounds like a broken record. We got impressive results in 2013. And 2014, same thing. We're like, hey, weren't we just here? Then 2015, boom, more impressive results. That's the kind of record you'd expect from a company that's created to serve and built to perform. Intelligent investing, powerful results. Visit TIAA.org. TIAA Craft Individual and Institutional Services, LLC. Investing involves risk.
7:06 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The Edens inbound has a 5-minute delay from Pratt to the junction. Outbound, just a little heavy past Montrose. The inbound Kennedy runs 28 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 38. Inbound Eisenhower, 35 minutes. Thorndale to the post office. Southbound 34. Stevenson, 38 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 46, low Damon and near Cicero. Heavy approaching the Des Plaines River Bridge after an earlier jackknife semi. The Ryan, 19 minutes, 95th to downtown. Bishop Ford, just a 2-minute delay approaching the merge. Northbound Tri-State slow from the Stevenson to 31st and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Eastbound Adams Tollway heavy from before Roselle to 53. The other tollways are good. Northbound 53 slow from the Adams Tollway to Kirchhoff. Crash on the right side. Most flights are moving as scheduled this morning at O'Hare and also at Midway, despite those technical glitches for Southwest over the weekend. Right now, most arrivals, departures, moving as scheduled. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solutions provider. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, partly sunny and breezy, high 73. Tonight, partly cloudy and breezy with a low 48. Sunny, breezy, and cooler tomorrow, high 61 and a low tomorrow night of 43. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560. The Answer.
63 at O'Hare, 64 along the lakefront. Next news, 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Advanced Planning Advisors, bringing you Smart Money Talk with Mike Moylan and Rob Curvin, Saturday mornings at 6.
Good morning. Welcome to your Monday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
Paul Ryan, the consensus candidate, tonight pressured from all sides of the Republican Party on and off Capitol Hill to become Speaker of the House.
You know, American allies, for generations, they are in trouble now, and Obama walks away.
You've got a different definition of leadership. My definition of leadership would be leading on climate change and international accord that potentially will get in Paris.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Morning. What is up? Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson. I'll tell you what's up. Willie Wilson campaign ads on these airwaves. And
who knew he was still in the race?
Well, he's as much in the race as Jim Webb or Lincoln Chafee, especially Lincoln Chafee.
Lincoln Chafee, how did that happen?
Wait till America gets a load of this guy.
I'm calling him the metric man.
Yeah. And Willie Wilson is focused on bigger ideas than the metric system, and also he lives in this country. So that's
a start.
That's two legs up he has on Lincoln Chafee. So why isn't Willie Wilson included in the debate? Chairman Todd Christensen. Why is it racist? Democrats racist, excluding the black guy. I want to know why. But here's something that's interesting. This was story over the weekend, the Center for Public Integrity. The Clinton campaign has bought and aired nearly 5,500 TV ads this year through Monday of last week, targeting voters in the early presidential caucus and primary states of Iowa and New Hampshire. That number accounts for nearly 1 in 4 ads aired so far during the presidential race by any source, Democrat or Republican. So she's aired a fourth of all the commercials that have been aired in this race so far, with 15 candidates on the Republican side and I guess 5 on the Democrat side. And yet, in the last 2 weeks, she's seen her poll numbers drop by another 10 points. Very interesting. The more you see, the less you like. For more insight into the state of the race, as well as what we can expect in tomorrow's first Democrat presidential debate, we're now joined by Alexis Simendinger, who is the White House correspondent for RealClearPolitics.com. Alexis, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning.
So what do you expect from Hillary in tomorrow's debate?
I think the former Secretary of State is going to use the debate to try to promote as forcefully as she can the range of policy initiatives that she thinks she's particularly strong on as she's been traveling to the early states, New Hampshire and Iowa in particular. And she's aware that her critics suggest that she is sort of low energy in terms of the way the voters respond to her on the stump. In other words, not quite the politician her husband was, but that she is strong on being prepared and experienced. And that's, polls continue to show that that might be the sweet spot that she goes after in this debate, that she is trying to portray herself in that field of 5 standing together for the first time in Las Vegas, that she is ready to be president, even if voters consider her to be maybe the ultimate politician, which is maybe what shows up in her trustworthy rankings in the poll after poll, but also that she is, eager and through her policies trying to argue that she's fighting for the average American.
What has she been doing to practice for this debate? Has she been partaking in mock debates?
She has been, and there are officials who are portraying the different candidates that she will face off against. It's an interesting contrast. She is, of course, debated on the national stage before. She debated as New York senator, running that race, and also, of course, in 2008 as a primary candidate for the presidency. And it's interesting to compare her to Senator Sanders of Vermont, whose campaign is saying that Bernie Sanders is who he is, and although he has not debated on the national stage in quite this format, he is preferring not to do mock debates and instead has asked his aides to give him all kinds of information and to help brief him on a range of questions that might get asked, just so that he's prepared in his head as opposed to being prepared in terms of performance. So they really are taking two very different...
Well, Bernie Sanders, he is the wildest of wild cards.
Yep.
Good God only knows what might come out of his mouth, and it'll be very interesting to see, because it's one thing to have, rallies of the disaffected from campaign stop to campaign stop. It's another thing to kind of be in the national spotlight and to see if some of those ideas and some of the way he communicates those ideas and his mad professor lid wear as well on the debate stage as they do at campaign events.
Exactly. And, I think that Secretary Clinton and Martin O'Malley, the former governor of Maryland, are both going to be trying to present themselves as candidates who have policy proposals that go deep, as opposed to perhaps trying to contrast to Senator Sanders, who has many proposals, but maybe the details of which he is, used in a simple way in terms of his presentation at rallies. One of the things that people fault Hillary Clinton for is she can be so detailed that, she can put you to sleep or the audience to sleep. I am expecting Martin O'Malley to be the most forceful, of course, because he has the most to gain, and has been very eager to try to argue that the Democratic National Committee should have had more debates. He is 0 place in the polls, and this particular debate, I think he is really going to go after in some forceful way to contrast with the other candidates on the stage and try to really horn his way in. We're going to have a different kind of debate than we've seen for the Republican field, not just because there are only 5 people on the stage, but also because up to now they have been less interested in pummeling each other than they have been in pummeling Republicans.
Yeah, and that leads to my next question. Is Hillary going to hit Bernie Sanders? Is Bernie Sanders and Martin O'Malley going to question Hillary about her server and about her emails?
Well, Martin O'Malley has been quite eager to try to bruise Mrs. Clinton by, personal discussion and presentation. Over the weekend, he said that her position on a no-fly zone in Syria, her proposal to support such a thing, could lead to what he called an escalation of Cold War proportions because of an accident. So he was trying to say that her proposal is not just wrong, but risky. And he has not been shy about that. Bernie Sanders has been interested in going after Hillary Clinton only by contrast, and he has said that he is not a negative campaigner. It's not, to him, satisfying to tear someone down in order to try to build himself up. Mrs. Clinton, however, Secretary Clinton, is probably also going to take the high road. You've seen she's been allergic to even mentioning Senator Sanders' name practically up to this point. So the fact that she has to be on a stage with him will force her to acknowledge to the Democratic Party at large that he is not just there, but he is really there in the polls.
I'll tell you what, a few people are talking about him, but the guy I am most interested to hear from, and I think he happens to be by far the smartest person on the stage tomorrow, is Jim Webb. Jim Webb was the Secretary of the Navy under Reagan. He opposed the Iraq War. He opposes the Iran deal, so he's got points of contrast from the rest of the field. He's kind of an independent thinker. He's a little bit of a shoot-from-the-hip guy, at least he was as a Virginia senator. And I think he actually has the potential, if he so chooses to employ his skills, to really change the tenor and tone and conversation tomorrow night.
I think you're absolutely right in the sense that former Senator Jim Webb of Virginia is someone who is very focused on international policy, the South China Sea, Asia, the pivot to Asia, and he has lots of very interesting and compelling things to say. The problem that Senator Webb has, former Senator Webb, having seen him on the stump and in small groups, is that he can be, in his own way, very professorial. He can be lacking in sort of presentational wattage. And what happens is that he is also reluctant to answer specifically some questions about what would happen. And he gets very terse with his media questioners and will say to them, and he's done it to me too, there's no way I could answer that question. I would have to see what would happen when I was president. And that's just not an answer on a debate stage that the audience usually just adores.
Okay, and quickly, Vice President Joe Biden, I know he's not going to be on the stage tomorrow, but the deadline is quickly approaching to make it onto state ballots. How soon do you think he will decide whether or not he's in or out?
Well, he and his supporters indicate that he is not only mulling this, but is actively weighing this decision on a more rapid basis. He understands what the timeline is. His people have talked to the Democratic National Committee to understand the delegate count, to talk about the deadlines. He supposedly over the weekend was talking to his family. We know he's not going to be in the debate, but we know he also understands that the media patience for his long deliberations is beginning to expire. And he understands that with donors and operation, you have to move fast. If he really wants to do this, he has to get in by this fall. So I'm assuming that I'm just taking him on trust, that his supporters in saying that he would make a decision by the end of October are being honest about what the vice president himself is thinking and also what the timeline demands.
We're talking to Alexis Simendinger. She's the White House correspondent for RealClearPolitics.com. Alexis, before we let you jump, the state of the race for House Speaker Paul Ryan over the weekend continuing to suggest that he is not interested in the post. Where do you have it?
I spent a lot of time on Friday trying to talk to people who are very close to Congressman Ryan. And one of the things that kept coming up is that not only does he have family considerations, but that he has been a politician who has ambitions for the presidency himself at some point and was patient enough to stay out of the 2016 race and would be patient enough to stay out of this because this was not on his glide path. It's not something he believes that really would benefit him. And it is true that he really is animated about the chairmanship of the Ways and Means Committee and the impact the actual change that can be affected through that committee. And I don't think that that's just blowing smoke. I believe he really thinks that's true.
But if not him, then who? I mean,
well, that is the $1 million question. And there are obviously Jason Chaffetz and Congressman Webster are still in the race. There's been a discussion about a caretaker. There's been fanciful discussion that Boehner would stay on. There's been discussion that you could actually have a former congressperson, someone to be a caretaker who actually isn't serving now, which is an incredible, amazing sort of discussion. But it underscores the desperation in which the House Republicans are in at this point, just to try to find a path out of this mess.
She is Alexis Simendinger, White House correspondent for RealClearPolitics.com. Alexis, thanks as always for joining us.
Have a great week.
And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
He has broken his silence. Former Governor George Ryan makes his first public appearance, and he has some advice for our current governor. But first, here is your forecast today. Just a gorgeous day. Unseasonably warm for this time of year. A high of 73 degrees under mostly sunny skies. It will be breezy. And then tomorrow, the sunshine will be sticking around, but it will be cooler. A high of 61. Let's see how your Columbus Day commute is going. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Amy, in many places, it's lighter than usual. There is a problem with the rail crossing gates in North Chicago affecting King Drive at 41. The Edens is pretty light, just a little heavy inbound approaching the junction. The Kennedy, 28 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 36. The Eisenhower, looking at 39 minutes, Thorndale to the post office, outbound 34. The Stevenson, only 38 minutes either way between 355 and Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan, just a 4-minute delay coming into downtown. Northbound Tri-State slow, Plainfield Road to the Hinsdale Oasis, and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Adams Tollway stop and go, Roselle to Beecham, but the tollways are lighter than normal. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
So often on the show, we talk about the important issues that affect your world, like the economy, education, foreign policy, getting Willie Wilson into tomorrow's Democrat debate. And on the show, because there's always so much going on, we don't always have the time to drill down and talk about the big ideas behind the big issues. So one of the reasons I'm involved with a new website, along with the Illinois Policy Institute, called Upstream Ideas. That's online at upstream-ideas.com. At Upstream Ideas, you'll find info that will inform the discussions we're having here on this show and elsewhere. At Upstream Ideas, we broaden the parameters of debate and move beyond the same old partisan assumptions. In other words, we're pushing against the current and thinking upstream. We ask, why are conditions the way they are, and how can those conditions be improved? So go online now to upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. Check out an interview I did with State Representative Jeannie Ives on the state of the turnaround agenda in Springfield. And with each visit to Upstream Ideas, you'll be armed with new info and fresh perspectives to spur you to make the state of Illinois and the good old USA a bit more free, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized.
Now, to the whiteies here, I'm letting you know I ain't prejudiced, all right?
Are you ready to take your diabetes management to the next level? Put the Contour Next meter to the test and challenge your meter. The Contour Next meter makes testing easy and highly accurate with close to lab level results. And Contour Next gives you a second chance, allowing you to reapply to the same strip when the first sample is not enough, saving you time and money. So take the challenge. Go to ContourNextChallenge.com, get a free meter, and enter to win free test strips. Find Contour Next at your local Good Neighbor Pharmacy.
Where do more than 2 million people go each day to do their best work? They go to Regis. Regis has beautifully designed tech-powered offices and co-working spaces with full admin support. Let Regis manage the details for you so you can focus on your business. Call Regis at 1-800-OFFICES to get up and running fast, without the hassle. Join the 2 million people who have found a better way to work. And right now, get a free office or meeting room for a day when you call 1-800-OFFICES. Regis, here to help you grow.
My name is Dr. Howard. I've recommended Balance of Nature for over 15 years because of the excellent results I see in my patients. Balance of Nature doesn't make any claims of treating or curing any particular disease, but I think the results speak for themselves.
Your product is terrific. I feel great. More energy. I've lost some weight. I can think clearer and faster. Everything that he said, Dr. Howard says it does on the program, it does, and then some. Boy, oh boy, I feel terrific. Nothing compares with this. Honestly, I know people always say this in testimonials, but this is the God's honest truth. I feel like a man 20 years younger.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
Former Governor George Ryan, you remember him, Dan, from such hits as, well, this.
Was I involved in selling driver's licenses to people illegally? Hell no, I wasn't. I didn't have anything to do. Would I have tolerated it? Hell no.
Yeah,
well,
that turned out to be a lie. And he went away to federal prison. And
for 5 years.
As did so many other Ryan underlings in Operation Safe Roads, and frankly led to the disintegration of the Republican Party, wandering in the wilderness for the better part of a decade plus after his demise. A slight reversal, a gleam of hope with Rauner's election last year.
Well, he's back in the public spotlight for the first time. He was at a public appearance since getting out of jail in 2013, and he talked about, lifetime in federal prison.
Justice is supposed to be blind. But the fact is that most people are blind about the justice system.
Still a little angry that...
nice parallel structure.
Yeah.
I don't remember George Ryan being such an orator.
Oh, he had time to think about it, Dan, and work on that speech while he was in prison. But he was talking about, the state of disarray and how we still don't have a budget in Springfield.
Governing is about cooperation and get along. I mean, you're going to have your differences, but you've always got to, at some point, you got to resolve those differences and govern.
Yeah, the way that you do that, and this is what George Ryan didn't understand, is you align interests. You don't do the boss play that he did, where you capitulate to Chicago and do Richie Daley's dirty dealings for him. George Ryan, I know, has some advice for Bruce Rauner, so I just want to offer this disclaimer, not that Governor Rauner needs it. Pay no attention to what George Ryan has to say. The problem that there's a paradigm choice to be made here. The paradigm choice is, do we do what the Democrats do as Republicans and make government about the spoils of war to distribute to our friends when we win? Or do we do what I think Bruce Rauner is trying to do, which is elections as the means to policy ends, to devolve power away from government and to the citizen or the resident in this case, and not engage or allow state government to be used for rent-seeking by public sector unions or big corporations? That's the choice. George Ryan chose the former. I'm hoping Bruce Rauner continues to choose the latter.
Well, he did have some advice for Bruce Rauner. He touted the fact that he could always make a deal with House Speaker Mike Madigan because they spoke with each other on a regular basis.
They're not meeting, I understand, and that's the first thing they got to do is sit down and talk about things, maybe just the two of them.
Yeah, he's a real deep thinker. Look, the decisions, the reason we have $214 billion in debt, that didn't happen overnight. So for all those people who sit down and hammer out a deal, we're going to get at the negotiating table, and you think that's what it is, it's kind of the horse trading of politics. That's why Illinois has the worst state government in the country. It is because of the philosophy of George Ryan. The debt wasn't run up just under Blagojevich or just under Quinn. It goes back to George Ryan and Jim Edgar and Jim Thompson. This was Republicans and Democrats, big government types all, getting together to destroy the state's economy. George Ryan is a relic of history, and I'm so glad that he is.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
You are a sign business, you want to grow, and you want to make more money. So do I. I want to partner with you. This is Dave Carlson, and my sign company is Franco Carlson & Company. We've been doing business in Chicago since 1894. With millions of dollars of state-of-the-art equipment, we can do any job. Trade shows, bus and vehicle wraps, banners for special events, even custom wallpaper. We can help you expand your sign business. If there is an order, any order, or a piece of business that you don't have the capabilities to do yourself, we can do it with you. You don't have to turn away any sign or print business any longer. Speed and quality to meet your deadlines. You have my word on that. Expand your sign business. Take any order. Make more money. Become a partner with Franco Carlson & Company. Contact me for a quote or stop by for a tour of our shop. Franco Carlson & Company. We are the sign company's partner.
Call Franco Carlson & Company at 773-847-6900. 773-847-6900.
Hi, this is Shalom Klein of Get Down to Business, the show for small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship, powered by Tandem HR.
We all have the same 24 hours in a day to make things happen, but some people seem to be better at getting things done. When it comes to growing your business, Entrepreneur.com says there are 3 good ways to spend your time: in thought, in conversation, or in action. As an entrepreneur, you're frequently interrupted or pulled in different directions. While you cannot eliminate interruptions, have a say on how much time you spend on them and how much time you'll spend on the thoughts, conversations, and activities that will lead you to success. As a general rule, spending 50% of your time on these items will get you results. While it may seem impossible to slog through your to-do list every day, making the time for activities that will get you where you want to go is time well spent.
For more tips, advice, and stories of entrepreneurial successes, listen to Get Down to Business with me, Shalom Klein, heard Sunday evenings at 6. Your Business Minute of the Day is brought to you by Everett Wealth Solutions.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
The McHenry District 156 strike appears to be settled. How and how much? We'll talk to the 156 school board president at 7:37.
And then suspended for taking a snap. Oh, we're back to the gridiron. But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say hello again to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. We have mostly clear skies. Winds out of the south at 13. If you're flying southwest today, double-check that flight before heading to the airport, and you may want to print your boarding pass at home. The low-fare Dominic carrier still working to figure out what caused an intermittent technical issue, which delayed about 13 to 15% of its flights yesterday, and they're not sure when that problem will be fixed. A Tennessee police officer is dead after being shot yesterday afternoon in what may have started as a dispute with a neighbor. Officer Terrence Ulrich was shot and killed in Cordova. Ulrich apparently was not on duty but was traveling to work and in uniform when he was shot. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump doesn't think the Democrats' first presidential debate will have much success in the ratings.
I don't think they'll do great. I mean, I think people are going to turn it on for a couple of minutes and then fall asleep.
Trump admitting to Fox and Friends this morning he believes the debate won't do too bad because people are curious in the first 10 minutes to see what may happen. Activists say Syrian government troops and their allies backed by Russian air power are advancing their efforts to try and rid a central province of insurgents. A 2015 Nobel Prize in Economics has been handed out to Princeton economist Angus Deaton. He was recognized by the Nobel Committee for his analysis of consumption and poverty. Teachers in McHenry set to vote on ratifying a new contract today that could end a strike in High School District 156. Chicago baseball fans ready for the shifting of the NLDS to Wrigley Field. Cardinals and Cubs are tied at 1 game each. First pitch at Wrigley set for 5:07 this afternoon. The FAA investigating after a small plane made an emergency landing in Batavia. The aircraft came down yesterday in a field near Fermilab. After developing engine trouble, it had just taken off from DuPage Airport. No injuries reported. And how about this? A ship bearing the name of the Land of Lincoln in the water. First Lady Michelle Obama christening the USS Illinois submarine on Saturday. $2.7 billion worth of high-tech underwater machine. Chicago sports. Bears winners over Kansas City 18-17. NBA preseason later tonight in New Orleans and the Bulls. The news, a service of Fresh Thyme. Fresh Thyme Farmers Market, healthy food, healthy values. This week, tender asparagus only $1.27 a pound. Fresh salmon fillets only $3.97 a pound. Grand opening prices valid at all 7 Chicagoland locations, now in Bucktown, Lincoln Park, Crystal Lake, and Naperville. FreshTime.com. 7:33 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
We are raising a country of sissies.
The Joe Walsh Show.
It's scary because these kids are going to be adults one day. Every single day, we move away from freedom and individual responsibility. And every single day we do that, we move closer to a country full of only government dependency.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
You own a European auto and you love it. Style and performance, it's not a car. You own a special engineering work of art. I know, because I own one too. This is Dan Proft for Midwest Performance Cars. Through the month of October, Midwest Performance Cars will do a $39 winter prep inspection on your European car. A $39 winter prep inspection. And they'll top off all your fluids. That's a $125 value for just $39. Through October only. Drop off your European car, and they'll give you transportation to work. Call them at 312-432-9492. That's 312-432-9492. They know your car and love it as much as you do. Midwest Performance Cars specializes in repairs and maintenance of European autos, including Porsche, BMW, Mercedes, Audi, and Land Rover. How good are they? Go ahead, read the Google and Yelp reviews. Located in Chicago's West Loop at the corner of Lake and Ogden, free Lyft and Uber shuttle service available. MidwestPerformanceCars.com, the dealer alternative and expert source for European auto maintenance and repair.
The following is a paid political announcement.
I'm Willie Wilson, candidate for President of the United States. As President, education will be at the top of my priorities.
Paid for by Willie Wilson 2016.
Cornerstone National Bank believes trust, service, and relationship is the foundation of a business banking partnership. Cornerstone National Bank and Trust Company, where you belong. Visit cornerstonenb.com. Member FDIC.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas. Great coffee. Period.
Listen to AM 560 on your mobile device. Now available on iHeartRadio. Online at iHeartRadio.com.
In 2015, the Huskies look to defend their Mid-American Conference Championship.
The MAC championship belongs to Northern Illinois.
Led by sophomore quarterback Drew Hare.
Drew Hare is going to keep it. Hare angles left. Hare into the end zone.
Catch all of the action right here on the Husky Sports Network.
Tune in Saturday, October 17th at 1:30 p.m. as the Huskies take on the Miami of Ohio Redhawks. Right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Huskies did all right against Ball State over the weekend. 7:36 is our time. Let's get an update on the roads in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Northbound 53 has Husky traffic this morning because of an earlier crash. It was near Kirchhoff. Delays start around I-90. Edens, 19 minutes either way between Lake Cook and Montrose. Kennedy, 28 minutes O'Hare to downtown, outbound 36. The Eisenhower is 39 minutes, Thorndale to the post office. And outbound 34, the Stevenson, 39 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound now fine. Ryan is 19 minutes, 95th to the Loop. Traffic, a service of Nicola by LaCroix. LaCroix Nicola, La Traffic by Nicola. Say goodbye to the same old cola and say hello to new Nicola, all-natural cola-flavored sparkling water. 0 calorie, 0 sweetener, 0 sodium, completely innocent. Nicola by LaCroix, made for you, available at Jewel. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Partly sunny and breezy day ahead, high 73, a low of 48 overnight. 61 at O'Hare. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by The Lou Bridges Show, a show about the greatest financial crime in history. Saturday mornings at 8 on AM 560, The Answer.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so we've had a number of teacher strikes in the last couple of weeks. Prospect Heights, McHenry High School District 156, East St. Louis. And I'll point people to this. It's one thing to talk about salaries. It's another thing to talk about the pensions. There's a very good piece by Mark Glennon in WirePoints, wirepoints.com. Meet Mr. and Mrs. Average Firefighter and Teacher, retired at 58, cash value of pensions about $3.5 million.
$3.5 million?
Yeah, listen to these numbers. The analysis that he did based on pension and salary numbers from the most recent publications of the Chicago Firefighters Pension and TRS, which is the pension for Illinois teachers outside Chicago. These are the average salaries and pensions in each of those systems for last year's retirees who had the years of service assumed above. 58 years old, Mr. Average Firefighter worked 30 and a half years. Mrs. Average Teacher worked 33 years. Mr. Average, the firefighter, when he retired, salary $110,000.
Annual pension amount, $78,000. Mrs. Average, salary when she retired, the 33-year teacher, $94,500. Annual pension amount, $67,000. The real present value of those pensions is $3.5 million. That's how much you in the private sector would have to accumulate in order to pay yourself those numbers in retirement, particularly in retirement at the age of 58. This also speaks to the fundamental problem we have at state and local government in Illinois, and it's part of the conversation that these school boards are having to have with their teachers' unions. But how did 156 get to at least a tentative agreement? This is McHenry High School District 156, to be voted on and apparently ratified by the teachers' union today. We're now joined by Steve Belmore, who is the School District 156 board president, to help us understand. So, Steve, thanks for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome. Good morning.
Good morning. So last time we spoke with you, you were offering about 2.7% a year in a salary bump, and the teachers wanted 5%. How did we get to agreement? What are the numbers?
Cannot elaborate on the numbers at this point until it's ratified this afternoon by the union, unfortunately.
Okay, so let's see if we can do this another way. So you were a little far apart. You seem to indicate that what you offered was a last best final. Is that a fair statement, that your last best final remained your last best final?
Well, let's say we both made movement in the end.
Okay.
We come to an amicable agreement that we thought would suit both sides.
Okay.
Well, according to your school's website, classes are going to resume tomorrow morning. You know, obviously off today because it is Columbus Day, but you are 100% certain that you will reach an agreement this afternoon?
We're hoping so, yes. I don't anticipate any problems, and the kids should be back in school tomorrow, pending, like I said, the union ratifying the contract this afternoon at 3 o'clock.
We're talking about pensions just before we brought you on, and I want to go to the pensions in McHenry School District 156. And I wonder if this was part of the conversation. This is info that was posted by McHenry board member Andrew Gassert, andrewgassert.com. You've got examples here, and I'm not going to name names, but you can go to andrewgassert.com if you want the names, of people that are retired from 156. For example, somebody who is in retirement at age 60, he paid in $25,000 to the pension fund. He has collected to date at the age of 60, $1.47 million. His estimated lifetime pension per payout will be $3.5 million. $25,000 in, potentially $3.5 million out. I mean, Bono didn't get that kind of return by being an early investor in Facebook. I wonder the conversations you have with the teachers union about pensions.
Well, I mean, pensions obviously are a big part of the problem we have here in the state of Illinois. In looking at our contracts and so forth, moving forward, you know, looking on the salary schedule, the longevity side of it, the schedule, the number of steps that we have was everything that we took into issue and looked at, see what we could do with.
Steve, was a point of contention mostly the annual step increases averaging that going up, or was it the raises?
It was both.
Was pension a part of it as well?
Pension is always a part of it, yes. I mean, we want to look at our numbers here. I mean, we're a small district. We try to be financially sound going forward, and this would help us down the road moving forward if we could do something that was conducive to the district and the union as well. So we felt we come to an amicable agreement, like I said, to help us move forward.
We're talking to Steve Belmore. He's the McHenry School Board District 156 board president. Steve, one of the things that you mentioned when we spoke to you a week or so ago was that when you came on the board was in deficit. One of the things that you were proud of is generating a surplus. So the board has some latitude, so you're not operating like the state of Illinois, for example. And I wonder how the contract that is nearing ratification, that's been agreed to in principle, will impact your ability to maintain a district surplus.
I can give you a better answer on that tomorrow.
Oh, you're so tight-lipped today.
Well, I understand. You don't
well,
want to.
I apologize, but until that contract, I mean, we're going to have that contract posted up for public tomorrow. So,
okay. Well, how has it been on your teachers, on the board members, and more importantly, the students? Because their homecoming events were canceled for the weekend.
It was a stressful week for everybody. It's unfortunate that the kids have to be the pawns in losing this, and I'll still say that. I'd like to see some type of legislation at some point in time. Whether that can be done or will be done remains to be seen. We're eliminating the right to strike for teachers. The only ones that come out on the wrong side of this are the students, obviously.
What message does this send to other school districts, too, that are thinking, teachers' unions that are thinking about going on strikes?
Well, you try your best to eliminate it and avoid it. Unfortunately, you're going to run into that situation once in a while. Work hard, work diligently, try to come to an amicable, mutual agreement that's going to suit both sides without giving the bank away. Let's put it that way. Obviously, we've got to weigh both sides of it as a board. I mean, we need to look at the contract side with the union. It's fair. We have to watch out for the taxpayers at the same time too. So it's a double-edged sword.
What was the reaction that you were getting as the strike dragged on into a week, I guess? What were the reactions you were receiving from those aforesaid taxpayers?
They wanted the teachers back in school, and they wanted the students back in school.
At any price?
Well, no, it wasn't at any price, and obviously we weren't going to do that at any price.
But I mean, what was their reaction in terms of what as they got an understanding of the numbers and what the teachers were demanding? What was kind of the reaction in terms of were they telling you to hold the line, or were they saying give in and let's get this over with?
I can say there was a little bit of both. Yeah, I mean there was. You had some constituents out there that were willing to give it to them, and you had some that were hold the line and don't give in.
Steve, do you think the 152 teachers that went on strike were being greedy?
Well, I can't say they're being greedy, and they're obviously looking out for their own best interest, I'll say. Mm-hmm. And I'll leave it at that.
All right. Steve Belmore, McHenry School Board District 156 Board President. Steve, thanks again for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good day.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up next, suspended for taking a snap. Oh, we'll explain. But first, here's your forecast. Unseasonably warm for this time of year. Average high 64 degrees. We're going up to a whopping 73 degrees, so it's going to be great for your NLDS Game 3 at Wrigley Field. Starts at 5:07 this evening. Then tomorrow, sunny, breezy, cooler. It'll be 61 degrees for Game 4. And happy Columbus Day, Jim Telemonte. Any travel tie-ups?
There are a few, Amy. Traffic is lighter than usual throughout the area, but there's a major closure in Lake in the Hills. Randall Road is blocked off at Algonquin. That's due to a crash. Today, access from eastbound Lower Wacker to southbound Lakeshore Drive closes till November 2nd. The Edens is delay-free. Inbound Kennedy, 26 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Outbound it's 41, pretty slow California to Cumberland. Eisenhower, 35 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound 34. The Stevenson has just a 5-minute inbound delay central to Kedzie, outbound a 2-minute delay approaching the Tri-State. Ryan, 19 minutes, 95th to downtown. We have mild delays on the tollways, but they're much lighter than normal. I'm Jim Talamonte, the ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Thank you to all of our listeners who purchased thousands of MyPillows over the last 18 months and are enjoying your best sleep ever, but that still leaves thousands of you who haven't taken advantage of the buy one, get one free offer. What are you waiting for? It is so important to get a great night's sleep. Don't wait any longer. MyPillow helps with snoring, headaches, neck pain, insomnia, allergies. Plus, MyPillow is washable and it keeps its shape to give you support where you need it most. That's why it was named the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. American-made, 60-day money-back guaranteed, a 10-year warranty on that bad boy. So for the MyPillow buy one, get one free offer, just visit MyPillow.com. Type Amy in the promo code AMY. 2 pillows for the price of one, or you could call 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201.
You've invested your heart and soul into your business, and the way you conduct yourself can have long-term effects on its success. The same goes for your business insurance. Your policy's coverage and reaction time when you have a loss can also have long-term effects on your business's success. Knowing the right amount of coverage and how to manage risk is what Heil & Heil Insurance Agency does best. At Heil & Heil, they provide you with a specialized commercial agent who can work with your business to keep it successful while minimizing risk. Let Heil & Heil find the best ways to protect it and reinvest the savings back into it. Call Heil & Heil Insurance today at 847-866-7400 for a free comprehensive evaluation of your business insurance. That's 847-866-7400 or visit them online, heilandheil.com.
Make sure your business is in the best position to succeed. Call Heil & Heil Insurance today, 847-866-7400 or visit heilandheil.com.
Think you're fat? You might just be bloated. Find out by calling now for a free trial of New Biotics, the new breakthrough that flattens bloated bellies fast. For a free trial, call 1-800-959-9644.
I used to be plagued by potbelly and constant bloating. After taking New Biotics, my belly flattened and continues to get flatter. My sense of bloating and discomfort is gone.
If you've got a big belly, you might not be fat. You might just be bloated. New Biotics is scientifically formulated with natural ingredients to flatten bloated bellies fast by cleansing pounds of rotting food and toxic sludge from your body. It even combats periodic heartburn and acid reflux. So just think how much better you'll look and feel. Think you might be bloated? Call now for a free trial of New Biotics and see how much flatter it makes your belly. You might be surprised. But hurry, call now for details while these free trials last. 1-800-959-9644. That's 1-800-959-9644. 1-800-959-9644.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, we're talking about the apparent settlement of the school, the teacher strike in McHenry School District 156. We had a text from 224. I sure hope that McHenry Teachers Union plans to kiss the taxpayers after they're done screwing them, while Keegan's taxes jumped immensely after they were done. Candace in DuPage, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, I heard when I was at all those College of DuPage meetings and stuff, I heard there was this guy that was running for the board of the Hinsdale school, one of the high schools or something, and he said that they took back their school and ran, like regular private sector people ran and got on the board, and then the teachers union was furious and proceeded to, like, harass them at their homes, like picketing at their homes and things like that. So, I mean, I think that these people that they call, like, these negotiators, they all are union hacks. I mean, why else would you give in to these people every time, over and over and over again? Why? I don't understand why there's so many people out there that need teaching jobs. Why don't they just fire these people?
Right. Thanks for the call, Candace. I mean, I'll tell you, this is the problem. And Kristen McQuarrie, our friend from the Tribune, makes this point all the time. Why do teachers go on strike? Because they normally win. They get more than they would get because the pressure comes, as you just heard, even in McHenry County, which is relatively conservative area, the pressure comes, hey, we just want them back in school. And so, in a game of brinkmanship, whoever blinks first usually does the worst. And it's usually the management side that's blinking in the face of the political pressure, like Candace is describing, from the teachers' unions. But I mean, listen to this.
Oh, okay.
The percentage of property tax going to pensions in the city of Chicago currently, 41%.
So 41% of my property taxes is going to
pensions.
In
the state of Illinois, our $35 billion budget, round numbers, 1 in 4 of those dollars going to pensions. It is going to eat up everything in its wake that is otherwise intended for Medicaid programs, for K through 12 education, not including personnel costs and the retirement benefits in particular, investing in our transportation infrastructure, and on and on and on.
Back to Candace saying, why don't they just replace the teachers? It's not that easy because families grow accustomed to certain teachers. And if you have large families, you want your kid to have the same teacher that your oldest son have, and you just can't replace them. They're not. Some teachers are replaceable, but others are just, they're so good at their jobs that people don't want them to leave.
Yeah. The graveyard is full of indispensable people.
Well, we're all replaceable.
Correct. That's
I'm
right.
Just saying
we're all replaceable. I understand. I mean,
some people grow, you love your, like, can you name who was your first grade teacher? Okay, let's try second grade.
Mrs. Bryant?
Yeah.
Mrs. Murphy, 2nd grade. Sure, I remember Mrs. Zitt, Mrs. Flynn in 8th grade. She's still there. Mr. Cashin, my gym teacher.
There.
Yeah, private school. I love my teachers. I love the teachers I had, including at Bennett. Northwestern kind of took a dip. But yes, that's true. And that's fine. And I'm not begrudging teachers who want to make more money. Here's the deal. It's the politicians who rig this system, and it's management that won't stand up to them. At some point, what good does it do to destroy your school system, to bankrupt everything for this kind of whimsical, romantic notion of I want, the person I had for 3rd grade teacher to be the same person that my son or daughter or the next in line has. I can appreciate that. I can appreciate wanting to retain good teachers. But in all these school district strikes that we've talked about, what do they say? For every opening, there's 200, 300 applications.
Oh, yeah. And there's more coming.
So you can't tell me, I don't think convincingly, that there's not other talented people out there that could do a good job educating young people and are perhaps willing to do it for a more reasonable compensation package than the unions demand and the boards provide and the state provides at present. That's the conversation. Dale in Algonquin, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call. Industry normally has about a 10% turnover rate per year. That's healthy because you have to fire some people, and some people leave on their own. And right now, most of the government agencies, they have less than 2% turnover, which means that you get some of the dead wood that stays there and blocks other people, qualified people, from doing the job.
Thanks for the call, Dale. Quickly, Alan in Rockford.
Hey, guys. Newspaper report this morning, Social Security recipients will not be receiving a cost of living adjustment. However, the public sector unions, who produce zero profits, will be still getting their 3 to 5% raises as they do every single year. And we've got to continue to press this point. The profit-producing sector is taking a back seat to the government employment of this country, and that produces no profits from that perspective. Would you agree?
Yeah, I do agree. Thanks for the call, Alan. And to your point on pensions, 3% COLA that compounds annually. If we just remove that, we could start to bring our unfunded obligations into line, but the unions won't even agree to that.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm Lex, CEO of Balance of Nature. At Balance of Nature, we believe in real communication. Whether you call into the office or hear a success story on the radio, you can be sure it's real, unsolicited, and unscripted conversation.
I really started it from an advertisement, more for my husband than for me, but I decided we should both take it, and I had gout in both my knees, and it's gone.
Well, that's a wonderful success story.
I know.
He had eczema on his hand, and it cracked for years. He did anything from doctor, every cream, everything. And 3 months on the veggies and fruit, it was gone.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
ChicagoRadioDeals.com and Red Dot Arms has partnered together to bring you a full curriculum of training classes. Start with the Refuse to be a Victim seminar, which teaches basic skills and attitude for developing a strategy for your personal safety. Paired with the Home and Firearm Safety course, this non-shooting class teaches you the safe handling and storage of firearms. This bundle for beginners, only $50. Now continue your training with the NRA Basic Pistol Shooting class, which includes in-class instruction and range time. This 8-hour class retails for $140, only $75. And for you experienced shooters out there, there's always deals for personal protection courses and private training lessons. So set your sights on the Red Dot Arms deals only at ChicagoRadioDeals.com.
And now, a moment of objectivism with your Ron Brook and the Ayn Rand Institute.
True love is selfless, we commonly hear, but philosopher and novelist Ayn Rand rejected that idea. A selfless love is a contradiction in terms. It would mean that you have no personal stake in the relationship. Instead, romantic love is profoundly selfish. It's a union of mind and body that both people pursue for their own happiness. Ayn Rand wrote that only a rational, selfish man, a man of self-esteem, is capable of love. That's because we love what we personally value, and love is profoundly demanding. To quote a famous line from Ayn Rand's novel, novel The Fountainhead, to say I love you, one must first know how to say the I. You can learn more about Ayn Rand's thought-provoking perspective on love, sex, and human relationships at ARIradio.com. From the Ayn Rand Institute, I'm Yaron Brook.
This has been a moment of objectivism from the Ayn Rand Institute. To learn more, listen to the Yaron Brook Show, Saturdays at 4 on AM 560, and visit ARIradio.com.
Why are Ayn Rand's ideas so compelling? Her worldview, her philosophy, expressed dramatically in her novels Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead, embodies the ideals stated by the Founding Fathers in the Declaration of Independence and sets forth the requirements necessary to achieve a flourishing life. She called her philosophy objectivism and said it was a philosophy for living on Earth. Today, decades after her death, objectivism continues to stir debate and inspire passion for the spirit of individualism and the enduring American dream.
Here are the stories we're watching right now. McHenry teachers to vote on a new contract, a technical glitch causing delays on Southwest Airlines, and a Berwyn man dies in a skydiving accident. Sunshine, WIND Chicago News Time is 8 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. He reiterates he didn't know Hillary Clinton was using a private email server while Secretary of State and President Obama adds,
"This is not a situation in which America's national security was endangered."
He tells CBS 60 Minutes the reaction's been very political, but it was a mistake she made.
It is important for her to answer these questions to the satisfaction of the American public.
And she'll get another chance at the first Democratic presidential debate tomorrow night in Las Vegas, where Fox News Radio's John Decker's live.
The latest CBS poll shows Hillary Clinton leads Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders by 19 points, but 53% have an unfavorable opinion of the former Secretary of State. The big story here is Vice President Joe Biden and whether he'll challenge Clinton for the Democratic Party's nomination. The president was asked about Biden last night on 60 Minutes.
I think Joe will go down as one of the finest vice presidents in history and one of the more consequential.
A decision by Biden could come as early as this week. Dave?
John, an American journalist convicted in Iran of being a spy at a secret trial condemned by the U.S. and rights groups. Jason Rezaian was the Washington Post's bureau chief in Tehran. He could get up to 20 years in prison. We're just learning 2 of the 5 NATO troops killed in a helicopter crash yesterday in Afghanistan were Americans. The military says the chopper was not shot down. A professor at Princeton is now a Nobel Prize-winning economist. Angus Deaton was awarded this morning for his work on poverty and welfare.
What we're seeing now, in some sense, is the result of, hundreds of years of unequal development in the rich world.
And he says people left behind in poor countries are trying harder to catch up. Americans who rely on Social Security will not be getting more income next year. Officials say there will be no cost of living increase announced later this week because inflation has been dragged down by cheaper gas prices. This is Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
Sunshine and 62 degrees, 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. If you're flying Southwest today, double-check your flight before heading to the airport, and perhaps print your boarding pass at home before heading to Midway. The low-fare air carrier is still working to figure out what caused the intermittent technical issues which plagued the airline over the weekend. Teachers in McHenry set to vote on ratifying a new contract later today that could put an end to a strike in High School District 156. Chicago baseball fans ready to shift the NLDS to Wrigley. Cubs first baseman Anthony Rizzo says hitters will have to do their part against Cardinals starter Michael Wacha to back starter Jake Arrieta.
We're in a great spot. Everybody's prepared. 2 really good teams, obviously, with a lot on the line. So, everybody's going to be prepared, focused mentally.
First pitch at Wrigley Field set for 5:07. A 65-year-old suburban man has died following a skydiving accident in Ottawa. LaSalle County sheriffs say Richard Gomez Berwyn was pronounced dead at the scene after a reported hard landing. The FAA and the coroner's office is investigating. The FAA also probing a small plane crash. It was an emergency landing in Batavia. The aircraft came down yesterday near Fermilab after developing engine trouble. After takeoff from DuPage Airport in West Chicago, no injuries were reported. Chicago Marathon, Dixon Chumba and Florence Kiplagat, your winners. Bears winners over Kansas City on Sunday, 18-17. The news, a service of Flu Block. Not all flu vaccines are the same. the season, ask for Flu Block, the only pure choice now available at Target and local retailers like Roundy's and Mariano's pharmacies. For more information, go to askforflublock.com or talk to your healthcare professional. It's 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat. And from the Fox Business Network, here's Carol Zimmer.
From the Fox Business Network, U.S. stock futures higher this morning. Asian stocks also gaining today. On Wall Street, major indexes closed higher on Friday, chalking up their best weekly performance so far this year. A multi-billion-dollar tech merger to report. Dell will buy data storage company EMC in a deal valued at about $67 billion. It's the biggest technology acquisition ever. Ford says it will invest $1.8 billion over the next 5 years to expand research and development in China. Ford is looking to grab a larger slice of the world's biggest auto market. The United Auto Workers are going to give Fiat Chrysler workers more time to review a tentative contract deal. And the Alamo is getting a facelift. At least $48 million will go into the makeover of the Texas Landmark, which was the centerpiece in the battle for Texas independence from Mexico. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Carol Zimmer.
8:05 in Chicago, and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
The FICO score is not really even a good indication that you pay your debts back.
Dave Ramsey.
What it's an indication of is, do you love debt? And are you planning on staying in debt continually, forever? If you're running around trying to build your FICO score and you call that winning with money, you're stupid. Was I unclear? I hope not. Because you're not winning with money. That's the point.
It's the Dave Ramsey Show, tonight at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you ready to take your diabetes management to the next level? Put the Contour Next meter to the test and challenge your meter. The Contour Next meter makes testing easy and highly accurate with close to lab level results. And Contour Next gives you a second chance, allowing you to reapply to the same strip when the first sample is not enough, saving you time and money. So take the challenge. Go to ContourNextChallenge.com, get a free meter, and enter to win free test strips. Find Contour Next at your local Leader Pharmacy.
What do Fortune 500 companies do when they need to find new workspace? They call Regis at 1-800-OFFICES. With Regis, you can easily expand today and get your people up and running tomorrow. With fully furnished tech-powered co-working spaces, offices, and admin support, Regis manages the details so you can focus on your business. Short-term, long-term, all on your terms. Regis makes it easy and affordable. Call Regis now at 1-800-OFFICES and get a free office or meeting room for a day. Regis, here to help you grow.
8:06 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Let's get an update on your ride to work this morning. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Happy Columbus Day. Lake in the Hills. Southbound Randall Road is closed at Algonquin due to a crash. Northbound Randall has reopened. The Edens is clear. Inbound Kennedy. Delays start at Kimball. It's just 25 minutes, so O'Hare to downtown, outbound 34. About Eisenhower, 35 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, outbound 36. Stevenson, 39 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 36. The Ryan, it's a 4-minute delay from the Stevenson to downtown. Slow on the northbound Tri-State, Plainfield Road to 31st in pockets, then from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Eastbound Adams Tollway, slow going, Barrington Road to Meacham. Reagan Tollway, eastbound fine, westbound before Myers. The right lane is blocked. There's a medical emergency there. Northwest Indiana's all clear. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Breezy with partial sunshine today, wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour, high 73. Then for tonight, partly cloudy and breezy, winds gusting up to 30 miles per hour with a low tonight of 48. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
Currently 62 degrees at O'Hare, but winds out of the south at 12. Your next news update is at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by In the Know with Wealth Management Group, hosted by Craig Bolanos. Heard Sunday mornings at 10.
Good morning. Welcome to your Monday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
Paul Ryan, the consensus candidate, tonight pressured from all sides of the Republican Party on and off Capitol Hill to become Speaker of the House.
American allies, for generations, they are in trouble now, and Obama walks away.
You've got a different definition of leadership. My definition of leadership would be leading on climate change and international accord that potentially will get in Paris.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson. So,
aren't you excited
about tomorrow's Democrat debate?
Oh, about tonight's game.
Oh,
game
yeah.
3 of the NLDS.
And one of your well-heeled friends has conferred his tickets upon you, so you get to go to the game today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I'm sure somebody out there is going to donate me, or not donate, I'll buy the ticket from them, because it's a day game tomorrow. 3:07 start tomorrow. So a lot of people are at work, can't make it. Just letting you know that I'm here.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're going to donate me some tickets. Nice Kevin McCarthyism. We'll hear probably some of that quality of English tomorrow at the Dem debate. What questions do you want to hear posed to the Democrat candidates for president? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line.
I have a question for Mr. Metric Man.
Lincoln
Chafee.
Yeah.
Why are you running? And where do you live? Do you live in Canada or the United States?
He said he lived in Canada at his announcement. Question for Chafee. This would be very specific to him, I think. Will you live in the White House or will you continue to live in Saskatchewan or wherever you live at present?
I mean, what you talk about the land of misfit toys. You talk about
that's
old,
what it is.
white-haired. I mean, the Republican Party always, everyone tries to just paint us with a broad brush that we're old men and rich men and white-haired men. The Republican Party has more diversity twofold than the Democratic.
That's not even close.
Right
I mean,
you can't. Yeah.
The Democrat field looks like the cast of Cocoon. I mean, seriously, you've got half a dozen candidates in the Republican Party that are in their 40s, and I'm not just, it's not an age thing, it's a between your ears thing, it's a talent thing, but you've got a lot of talented young candidates for this post in the Republican Party. You also have some intellectual diversity, which is always nice, and unlike Democrats, we're allowing African Americans to participate in our debates. I mean, now they're polling a lot better than Willie Wilson is, but if you're going to have Lincoln Chafee on the stage, how can you not let our guy, Dr. Willie Wilson, in the debate as well? I mean, he would be the most entertaining portion of that debate.
He would be. He would be a reason why I'd want to watch him more if he was included. But apparently he isn't polling high, but neither is Lincoln Chafee. I mean, what is Martin O'Malley polling? 0.1%?
Yeah, they're all zeros. And I'm not just talking about their poll numbers. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, a.k.a. Todd Christensen, she took to the airwaves on Sunday because one of the other things that's fun about this is she has to defend the concept that an avowed socialist could be their nominee. Mm-hmm. And so here's Debbie Wasserman Schultz saying, well, it's all about the Republicans. They want to tell immigrants to leave this country.
Look, between the 15 Republican candidates that are left, all of whom are trying to out-Trump Donald Trump by saying, yeah, let's kick women, let's kick immigrants out of this country. Let's take away health care from women. Let's increase taxes on the middle class to pay for tax cuts for the wealthy. Let's end Medicare as we know it. Yes, I think any of the candidates on our side of the aisle who are talking about job creation, making sure we can expand access to health care, build the cornerstones of a middle class life by helping people get a good education and having a secure retirement, any one of our candidates will be chosen and eventually elected as the 45th president of the United States of America because of that contrast.
Don't you? I mean, she's so lifelike with the recitation of that talking point. I mean, it's great. But I mean, she's in a difficult position because number one, she doesn't know what the difference between a Democrat and a socialist is, but she knows that Bernie Sanders as her nominee is a problem. So she just kind of characterizes the field
as a whole rather than having to address Bernie Sanders specifically.
And Bernie Sanders was on Meet the Press with Chuck Todd over there, and he, he didn't deny he's a socialist, and he said, "Well, every time you have a Republican on, do you call them a capitalist?" He's like,
I would say to that response, I wish I could. Unfortunately, a lot of Republicans aren't capitalists; they're cronyists, but corporatists. But Bernie Sanders is great. I mean, why does Bernie Sanders on the ascent and Hillary Clinton is on the decline, even though she is responsible for a fourth of all ads that have been run in Iowa and New Hampshire in the entire campaign to date? Why is she? Because Bernie Sanders is authentic. And there is, shockingly, disturbingly, a base element of the Democrat Party that wants to embrace socialism. They haven't paid attention to world history. Whereas Hillary Clinton, as Jonah Goldberg wrote in the New York Post over the weekend, even her supporters, unless they're on her payroll or they're aspiring for a post in her administration, even her supporters don't believe her because she's all over the place on every issue. She'll flip on a particular issue on a moment's notice if she thinks it's her short-term political advantage to do so, to wit, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which she touted as being one of the negotiators on, and then said it's a bad deal. And
when she was Secretary of State, she helped push it through and, try to get people to be on board with it. And then now she opposes it. And she doesn't really, she just thinks it's going to be taking away American jobs.
Here's something else that's interesting. This is from Quartz.com. In terms of Hillary's pathway, because this is going to be dark and cynical path to the nomination and the presidency. So Eric Schmidt, Eric Schmidt, former CEO of Google. Now he's the chairman of that parent company, Alphabet. Well, that's the parent company. So he, as a major tech vendor to Hillary, he found this startup called The Groundwork, which is part of the efforts by Schmidt, the executive chairman of Google, because the rich tech wizards, Google, and the power that Google has, it turns out they're not Republicans. To ensure that Clinton has the engineering talent needed to win, this piece from Quartz, there's another gap in play here, the shrinking distance between Google and the Democratic Party. Former Google exec Stephanie Hannon is the Clinton campaign chief technology officer, and a host of ex-Googlers are currently employed as high-ranking technical staff at the Obama White House. Schmidt, for his part, is one of the most powerful donors in the Democrat Party. He's worth $10 billion. The piece goes on to suggest Schmidt's funding of The Groundwork suggests the 2016's most valuable resource may not be donors capable of making 8-figure donations to super PACs, but rather supporters who know how to convince talented engineers to forsake the riches of Silicon Valley, at least in the short term, for presidential politics so that they get their person in the White House. So all of this boogeyman stuff with the Koch brothers, a conversation should be had about Google and Eric Schmidt and some of the talent that's been assembled, kind of the big brother-ish talent that's been assembled to advance the interests of Hillary Clinton, and why they're so interested in Hillary Clinton.
312-642-5600 is our number. What questions do you want asked at the debate? And why isn't Willie Wilson part of it? Really? I mean, he's advertising on the station, too.
Include Willie. I don't care if he's not. He should be in the debate. If there's no standard for the debate other than being a declared candidate, which seems to be the standard, because how else do you include Lincoln Chafee, then why isn't Willie Wilson in? I'm serious.
Maybe because he's never held public office, but that doesn't matter to the Republicans because we have 3 frontrunners who've never held public office.
Does Rhode Island count as holding public office?
Yes, it does. It's a tiny state, but...
Sean in Elmwood Park.
I have a couple of questions. The first one is, in the name of equality, why must people be treated unequal? I want to see any one of these morons explain that to me. And the other thing is, if you win, are you going to swear to uphold the Constitution? Because the Constitution is directly opposed to what you're running on, to the Soviet agenda you are running on. And these Democrats should be referred to as Soviets, because that's exactly what they are. And the third question is, don't you owe every one of us who had our relatives sent and killed to fight wars, the last 4 wars, against the very socialist agenda you're trying to implement in this country? Don't you owe all of us an apology?
Thanks for the call, Sean. I don't think those questions are going to be asked.
No, I don't think so.
Michael and Elgin.
Hey, good morning. I just had a question. I think I missed it. Have the Democratic candidates, present and future, been required to sign an agreement that they will support whoever's nominated for their party?
Well, we'll find out at the debate because that question was asked during the first GOP debate. It was one of the first questions that Brett Baer asked.
Yeah.
Do you swear to take an oath to support, to not run as a third candidate? But I don't
That
think
was-
anyone.
Yeah.
Is that for the Republicans? What about the Democrats?
Yeah, we'll
that's
find
right.
out tomorrow night.
Thanks for the call, Michael. Yeah, I assume that question will be asked. It's kind of one of those standard issue debate questions.
Well, is there any rumblings of Bernie Sanders, breaking rank and filing as a third party candidate?
No, I doubt it. The Democrats always do a better job of closing ranks than the Republicans.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up, how you can go to the Cubs-Cards game today or tomorrow. But first, here's your forecast today. Partly sunny, breezy, unseasonably warm, actually, 73 degrees. And then tomorrow for Game 4 of the NLDS, it's going to be sunny, breezy, but cooler, a high of 61. Let's see if travel times are high on this Columbus Day. Let's get the latest from Jim Talamonte.
Amy and Dan, pretty light in general, but there are some issues now on Metra's Union Pacific Northwest line. There's a train due downtown at 9:28. It's stopped near Woodstock due to a mechanical failure. Keep an eye on that line. Trains otherwise are on schedule. The Edens is clear. Kennedy, just 25 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 31. The Eisenhower, 35 minutes. Thorndale to the Loop, outbound 36. The Stevenson has just a 1-minute delay inbound. Pulaski to Kedzie, outbound a 2-minute delay approaching the Tri-State. The Ryan at 19 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tollways are lighter than usual. The main delay, as far as the tollways goes, that eastbound Adams Tollway. Stop and go Barrington Road to Beecham. A lot of ongoing construction. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Looking to secure financing on a new home or refinance your existing home, then you need to do what Amy did. Call her friend with Cubs season tickets. No, I'm just kidding. Call David Hochberg, the vice president of Pearl Mortgage. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac recently released new lending rules that dramatically help borrowers secure new loans. So listen carefully. If you wanted to move but couldn't because your home doesn't have 30% equity in it, then start packing, baby. New rule. If you can supply a fully executed lease and proof you deposited the security deposit, David can now count the rental income as income. This will enable hundreds of thousands of trapped homeowners to now qualify to purchase a new home. If you want to purchase a new home and can rent your current home, stop what you're doing and do what I did, meaning Amy. Call now at 312-751-1333. That's 312-751-1333. Or visit www.am560david.com. That's www.am560david.com. David's helped Amy as well as thousands of AM560 listeners, and he'll help you. But he can't help you if you don't call. So call David now at 312-751-1333. That's 312-751-1333. Pearl Mortgage is an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee 4358, licensed by DBO under California RMLA and MLS 19186. PearlMortgage.com/licensing.
Having a great smile to show off makes you feel good. There's no embarrassment associated with being able to flash your pearly whites whenever you want. If you'd like to feel that comfort and confidence with your smile, there's only one person who can help you. Dr. Neruzzi of Fox River Periodontics.
This is Brian DeWolf. I have 2 implants from Fox River Periodontics. I had one, I was happy with it, so I had another one done, and I love them. The idea of dentures didn't appeal to me at all. I didn't want that appliance in my mouth. These implants are wonderful. They're just like your real teeth. And they're probably even better because there's no nerve attached to them, so there's no pain, and they'll last forever. Dr. Neruzzi is great, and his staff is wonderful, and I trust him completely. If you're looking for dental implants, or considering dental implants for a missing tooth or for a whole mouthful, talk to Dr. Neruzzi. He'll be happy you did, and Fox River Periodontics.
This is Dr. Neruzzi. I personally guarantee your happiness with your implants. Go to implantsforme.com.
What is heaven really like?
Where is heaven?
Does heaven even exist?
Am I going to heaven?
These are questions most of us have asked at some point in our lives. In his new book, The Three Heavens, author and pastor John Hagee unravels the breathtaking mysteries of heaven. Learn what it all means for you now and in the world to come. Pick up your copy of John Hagee's riveting New York Times and USA Today best-selling new book, The Three Heavens, at booksellers everywhere.
AM 560, The Answer.
Sing it, Dan. Come on, you White Sox fan. Now's the time.
Jody Davis, the king of Wrigley Field. Remember that?
No.
I loved Harry. Even though he's Sox. Cardinals.
Oh, yeah, Cardinals, Sox.
So I've got an offer for 2 tickets.
Yeah, what do you got?
2 rooftop tickets here. Let's see what we got here. 2 rooftop tickets.
For how much? $250?
The rooftop at 3639 Sheffield. So there's 2 rooftop tickets for tonight's game, 3639 Sheffield. And I don't know what the market rate is on those, but I'm willing to find out. And I'm willing to lay these off to Steve Bazil for the reasonable price of $1,500 a ticket.
Oh, really?
How's that sound?
Steve's in business because he's not a dumb businessman.
Oh, dang it. Steve Bazil, he is the proprietor of Sit Close Ticket Broker since 1987. So he's, you've been in business. You started your business a mere 42 years after the Cubs' last World Series appearance. Steve Bazil, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
So what do you think about my offer for those 2 rooftop seats?
I think if you had a gun, you might be able to get that kind of money, but that's the only way you're going to get it.
All right, so you tell me what the market rate is for tickets from where I normally sit as a esteemed member of the community, down behind home plate or between the screen and third base dugout, all the way to rooftop seats. What are we talking about here?
Well, the standing room right now is right around $150, so that's come down probably in half from where it started. You can get a seat, upstairs in the neighborhood of $225.
That's not bad. So before they lost the first game, how high were ticket prices, and then how did they plummet?
Well, standing room only started out at about $300 bucks. 500 levels in the neighborhood of 400, $450, and it went all the way up as high as $1,500. People were asking.
Well, so like those premium seats there. I mean, to the extent that those are available, even from ticket brokers like yourself. What are the premium seats going for? What are the ridiculous prices you've heard, or that you're offering?
Well, I don't offer crazy prices. I offer fair prices, and not boasting, but the market for the club seats, like you said before, lower level first tens between the bases. The crux of the ticket market has been between $850 and $1,150 is where it's been trading. These people that have stuff out there at $18,000, $2,000, nobody's going to buy those seats at those prices. You can get 100-level seats here between $450 to $900. That's where, again, the meat is of the trading. I don't know. These people put their stuff on StubHub. Nothing against StubHub. Mm-hmm. But, they think they have gold in them their hills. And I don't blame them. But, it's just, it's not reality.
Well, now that the series is tied, what is Tuesday looking like? Say if Dan and I want to go to the game together on Tuesday because it's an afternoon game.
You buying?
How much are we going to have to pay?
Well, after his offer of selling me those rooftops, I don't know if I want to be so nice to Dan.
I'm just trying
you and me, we could take care of.
I'm just trying to test the market, Steve. I'm just trying to kind of find out what the parameters are.
So if you wanted to say, lower level for Tuesday's game, how much is that going for right now?
Lower level, you get in the lower level in the 200s, anywhere from about $250 to $350 is where the meat is. So again, it's not really too cost prohibitive for a game of this magnitude. If they, I should say when they win tonight, those prices are going to go. You're probably 30 to 40% higher for tomorrow's game.
Not just
being a clinching game.
Not just a ticket broker, but also a handicapper. I see. So
thanks for calling, Dan.
Yeah, Steve Bazil, Sit Close is his ticket brokerage.
Yeah,
since 1987,
sitclose.com.
sitclose.com. And so, Steve, how much if I wanted to sit in the Ricketts box? You got seats there? What, you got kind of connects? I want to try and test your connects.
I can't say it on air, my friend. You want to call me after this? Not a problem.
All right, good. Oh, nice. All right. He does have those connects.
He does,
I like it.
I want to give you a hypothetical. If did I have to say the White Sox? If the Cubs make it to the World Series, how much do you think a ticket would go for? I mean, just average price?
Well, I'll start at the bottom. The standing room only will probably be $1,000.
Wow.
To stand, and I believe that market, that is going to be one of the strongest markets you'll ever see. There are people that have waited all their lives. I have a friend, he's in the 60s. This guy bleeds blue, and he'd pay anything to have great seats. So it's an unknown market. I believe that'll be it could be a ticket up to $10,000 for the club level between the bases.
And so, Steve, though, you're as intelligent, informed businessman, you're not spending all that World Series ticket money you think you're going to realize, right? You're tempering your enthusiasm and just taking it one game at a time, much like the players.
Well, there's no question. You can't. My son does need the braces, but that's the only thing that I'm spending it on at this point. No, I'm a realist. The Cubs do, in my opinion, like everybody else, has a great chance. Nobody expected them to get this far, into the postseason. So I like our chances. I like the momentum, and this is great for the city of Chicago.
How busy have you been in the past few days?
This is absolutely, it's unreal. As you can hear, these calls are coming in as I'm trying to talk to you guys.
We're costing you money. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Now, if it's the Cardinals and the Royals, do you an I-70 series again, like '85, which I'd like to see? Do you get tickets to those games as well?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we get tickets anywhere in the country, even out of the country.
Good. All right. Well, Steve Bazile.
Any game you want to go to?
I'm going to Cardinals Royals series this year. That's cool. Steve Bazile. He is the proprietor of sitclose.com. Steve, thanks so much for joining us. Good luck.
My pleasure. Thanks for having us.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Wait a minute. Cubs win World Series.
Yeah, it's something, huh? I wish I could go back to the beginning of the season. Put some money on the Cubbies.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago. This is a city of hardworking, dedicated people. So when you need a team to design, construct, and finish your project on time and on budget, look no further than to CPMH Construction. CPMH Construction is a full-service construction company specializing in commercial and industrial projects, along with sewer, excavation, and parking lot design. This MBE certified business uses the technology you want and puts it in the hands of their skilled crew of tradesmen. Tradesmen who are loaded with the know-how and experience to address every detail of your job, meeting your standard of excellence. At CPMH, client satisfaction is the foundation of their success, which is why 97% of their clients return for additional services. Call CPMH today at 312-929-2345. That's 312-929-2345. Or visit cpmhconstruction.com and let them develop and implement a plan that ensures you the success of your next big project.
AM 560, The Answer.
Come on, you got to read the text message. Or is it naughty?
Text message from, let's see, where is it now? Text from 630 talking about Debbie Wasserman Schultz. We played that clip of her talking about the field of candidates before the debate. Text, I guess I never heard DWS speak, but that sounded like a male florist from L.A. I'm not even sure what that means, but it sounds funny.
Another one from 847 area code. Do those Cubs World Series tickets include seats for when hell freezes over? From the Amish texter. No, not his best work. But keep trying. We're always here for you. 64636. Type in DA, then your comments. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
The most gruesome robbery of a convenience store ever.
But first, Dan's going to tell you all about it. Be sure to pad up for this one. But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say hello again to Mike Scott.
One of us in this room was at that 1985 Royals-Cardinals World Series Game 4 Cardinal victory, 3-0. One of us here was there.
Not me.
Not you. Not Dan. That was me. Let's not talk about that. My marriage barely survived. 62 degrees, sunny skies out there right now. And we're watching developments in Buffalo, New York this morning, where emergency crews are responding to an Alaska Airlines jet that has just moments ago made an emergency landing. There was a fire in the cockpit, according to several broadcast reports. That flight left Newark, New Jersey, and was bound for Seattle when it was diverted to Buffalo. Right now, there are no reports of injuries. We'll keep you advised. 2 Americans are among the 5 killed in a Sunday helicopter crash in Afghanistan. NATO says the chopper went down in Kabul. 2 U.S. service members on board, a French civilian contractor, and 2 British service members. President Obama sees Russian President Vladimir Putin's actions in Syria as a sign of weakness.
If you think that running your economy into the ground and having to send troops in order to prop up your only ally is leadership, then we've got a different definition of leadership.
The president in a wide-ranging interview on CBS's 60 Minutes. After holding him in prison for more than 400 days, Iran now says a Washington Post reporter is guilty of espionage. The country's judiciary announcing that a verdict has been reached in the case of Jason Rezaian. A Memphis police officer is dead after being shot. It happened yesterday afternoon in the Memphis suburb of Cordova.
The details are now very, very sketchy. The investigation is ongoing. We do have one suspect in custody. But again, the details are very, very sketchy.
Officer Terrence Ulrich was shot and killed in Cordova. Right now, there is one person in custody, and that officer had only been on the force for about a year. If you're flying Southwest Airlines today, double-check that flight board and perhaps print your boarding pass at home. A spokesperson says the low-fare air carrier is working on figuring out what caused intermittent technical issues, including ones that plagued Midway Airport. Southwest is not sure when the problem will be 100% fixed. Teachers in McHenry are set to vote on ratifying a new contract later today that could put an end to that strike in District 156. And the FAA is investigating after a small plane made an emergency landing in Batavia near Fermilab. Bears beat Kansas City 18-17. In the news, a service of Illinois Partners for Clean Air. Why stress over parking, traffic, and gas prices? If you've got endless options available with public transit, get on board with saving time and money and improving air quality. Learn to breathe easy and save easy with Illinois Partners for Clean Air at cleantheair.org. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher is tired of the gun control rhetoric.
If Chris had not been able to get a hold of 13 guns, it wouldn't have happened.
Empty rhetoric. And my heart goes out to this father and the mother because their son will forever be known as the monster who killed innocent people. Stop blaming the gun, the inanimate object, for the evilness of the creature.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Get the year-round convenience of an all-season tire, plus winter weather safety on snow and ice with the all-new Celsius tires, only from Toyo. All or nothing.
Change in the market shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. In fact, since World War II, we've seen a correction on average about once every 18 months. That's why Arlington Capital Management developed proprietary tools that help them to see what's beyond your investment horizon. Like an experienced ship captain uses tools to avoid stormy weather, Arlington Capital Management uses tools to guide you through market corrections before it's too late and help us decide when to capitalize on opportunity. Call Arlington Capital Management today at 855-471-5796 to learn how their active management systems can help you. Each day, they actively explore the market, our economy, and all the variables that affect your investments. Stormy markets never cloud their vision. The professionals at Arlington Capital Management use their tools and experience to guide them. Call Arlington Capital Management today at 855-471-5796 for a financial review. The number again is 855-471-5796 or learn more at arlington-capital.com.
At the end of a long day, all you want to do is relax. Maybe grab a cold one and eat something that's not frozen and thrown into a deep fryer. That's why you have Heroes West Sports Grill. If you want to relax, the place feels like home. If you're ready for a cold one, try 37 choices on tap alone. Hunger is a thing of the past, too, with dishes direct from their scratch kitchen. Heroes West Sports Grill in Joliet has mastered the best, just to ensure that your experience is full of happiness. But that's just the beginning. They, like AM 560 The Answer, are huge supporters of your servicemen, women, and first responders. That's why they continue to give back with Warrior Wing Wednesday. You're invited in to enjoy their famous wings at a bargain and have proceeds from your order go towards helping America's real heroes. Heroes West Sports Grill. Casual comfort just like home. Find them online at heroeswest.net. That's heroeswest.net.
My name is Dr. Howard. I've recommended Balance of Nature for over 15 years because of the excellent results I see in my patients. Balance of Nature doesn't make any claims of treating or curing any particular disease, but I think the results speak for themselves.
I will tell you one thing, and he's sick all winter. He wasn't sick at all this winter, not one time.
I've taken vitamins my whole life, and this is really the only thing that I've ever really felt like that did anything. So I kept coming down with the flu. And she said, double them, triple them. And that's what I did since then, and I haven't had the flu. So I know it works.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code Chicago.
Let's get a check of the roads in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Metra has a delay on the Union Pacific Northwest line because of a mechanical problem in the Woodstock area. Looking at the flight boards at Midway, just a couple of delays for arrivals affecting Southwest right now. Departures moving as scheduled. Edens is looking good, no delays at all. Kennedy inbound, slow Diversey to the Burn Circle. It's 27 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, up on 28. About Eisenhower, 33 minutes, Thorndale to the post office. Outbound 32, the Stevenson is now delay-free. Inbound Ryan, just a 2-minute delay from 18th into downtown.
Recent polls have shown a fifth of Americans can't locate the U.S. on a world map. Why do you think this is?
Tri-State
I personally believe.
Stop and go 60 to Duffy with roadwork on the right lane scheduled till 2. Northbound it's heavy. Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Eastbound Adams Tollway stop and go Barrington Road to Meacham. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solutions provider. Partly sunny, breezy, 73 today. 62 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Radio Garden Sense, a show bringing your property's gardening needs alive. Radio Garden Sense, Sunday mornings at 11 on AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, before you read about it on Facebook or Twitter, well, hear about it from your friends. Find out what today's big stories really mean with me, Sean Hannity, today at 2, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so President Obama was on with Steve Kroft, a wide-ranging interview, as Mike Scott reported. 60 Minutes last evening covered a lot of topics. A lot to talk about with America being pushed out of Syria, with Iran already apparently violating the nuclear agreement by testing a long-range ballistic missile, with the Washington Post reporter convicted, quote-unquote, of his crimes against the state of Iran, sentence unknown, not getting our hostages out of there either, and as part of this deal. And so asked a lot of geopolitical questions. I want to do a little bit of a comparison contrast and see if you can figure out which one is President Obama and which one is Miss South Carolina. I'm going to start with one clip and then go to the other and see if you can distinguish between the two. The voice tone may give it away, but on the substance of it, can you distinguish between the two?
Recent polls have shown a fifth of Americans can't locate the U.S. on a world map. Why do you think this is?
I personally believe that U.S. Americans are unable to do so because some people out there in our nation don't have maps, and I believe that our education, like such as in South Africa and the Iraq, everywhere like such as, and I believe that they should, our education over here in the U.S. should help the U.S. or should help South Africa and should help the Iraq and the Asian countries.
Yeah, I mean, that was...
Wow, that was a hot mess.
What are you talking about? That's a call for Obama maps.
Oh.
We don't have maps.
Oh, that's right. We
so
need
Obama
maps.
So
South Africa education for us and us.
Now listen to President. Now listen to another clip. I shouldn't say that. The question is, who is going to rid the world of ISIS?
What's going on right now is not working. I mean, they're still occupying big chunks of Iraq. They're still occupying a good chunk of Syria.
Right.
Who's going to get rid of them?
Over time, the community of nations will all get rid of them, and we will be leading getting rid of them. But we are not going to be able to get rid of them unless there is an environment inside of Syria and in portions of Iraq in which local populations, local Sunni populations, are working in a concerted way with us to get rid of them.
And such as, and so forth.
And then it reminds me a little bit of Kevin McCarthy.
Should really look to, and the pressure mount to actually let the people have a say.
Indistinguishable, really. Indistinguishable, the two of them. This is why Condi Rice and Mr. Obama, President Obama's former defense secretary, Robert Gates, penned this op-ed in the Washington Post that, frankly, ridicules the president. I mean, this is as strong an op-ed as you're going to get from two foreign service officers, two high-end intelligence officers you're ever going to read in the Washington Post, how America can counter Putin's moves in Syria. They write, among other things, Putin's move into Syria is old-fashioned great power politics. In parentheses, yes, people do that in the 21st century. That is a ridicule of President Obama.
Slam.
This is a domestic benefit to him, but it is not externalizing his problems at home. They go on to say, again, this is open hostility. Second, in terms of what we can do, first, reject the argument that Putin is simply reacting to world disorder. He's trying to foment world disorder. The second thing they write, we have to create our own facts on the ground. No-fly zones and safe harbors for populations are not, quote, unquote, half-baked ideas. A response to President Obama's half-baked rhetoric and his many half-baked answers, as you heard on 60 Minutes yesterday.
He also commented, or want to play more, because he did comment about Hillary Clinton's emails for the first time.
Yeah, but I want to stay on leadership and Putin in Syria for a second, because this exchange, where to Steve Croft's credit, he does push Obama, this exchange on Putin and Syria and where America finds itself 6.5 years into this presidency is an important one.
A year ago when we did this interview, there was some saber rattling between the United States and Russia on the Ukrainian border. Now it's also going on in Syria. You said a year ago that the United States, America leads, we're the indispensable nation. Mr. Putin seems to be challenging that leadership.
In what way? Let's think about this.
Well, he's moved troops into Syria, for one. Yeah. He's got people on the ground. Right. Two, the Russians are conducting military operations in the Middle East for the first time since World War II. Bombing the people that we are supporting.
So that's leading, Steve? Let me ask you this question. When I came into office, Ukraine was governed by a corrupt ruler who was a stooge of Mr. Putin. Syria was Russia's only ally in the region. And today, rather than being able to count on their support and maintain the base they had in Syria, which they've had for a long time, Mr. Putin now is devoting his own troops, his own military, just to barely hold together by a thread his sole ally.
He's challenging your leadership, Mr. President. He's challenging your leadership.
Steve, I got to tell you, if you think that running your economy into the ground and having to send troops in order to prop up your only ally is leadership, then we've got a different definition of leadership.
First of all, how is Syria Putin's only ally? Iran isn't an ally. As to Ukraine, it was ruled by a stooge of Putin's when President Obama took office. Now it's ruled by Putin. As to Syria, going back there, Mr. Putin has drawn a red line around Assad, and he's defending it. He is destroying, intent on destroying with ground force as well as air superiority, now that he's crowded out the Americans, destroying ISIS as well as whatever remnants of moderate Syrian opposition there were. So he's not challenging America's leadership in the region. No, he's dismantling America's leadership in the region. Quickly, Vin in St. Charles, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, Dan and Amy, I noticed that Obama said that Putin was running his economy into the ground, and maybe that's how Obama is leading Putin. He showed him how to do that a long time ago and keep it going. That's
exactly right. Good. I kind of thought the same thing. As you said, Obama also covered domestic politics, including the Hillary email problem.
He said that it was a mistake, but he didn't think it was a matter of national security. Basically, he was saying that there's no evidence her server was used to hide something or store information.
Did you know about Hillary Clinton's use of private email server?
No.
While she was Secretary of State?
No.
Do you think it posed a national security problem?
I don't think it posed a national security problem. I think that it was a mistake that she's acknowledged. And, as a general proposition, when we're in these offices, we have to be more sensitive and stay as far away from the line as possible when it comes to how we handle information, how we handle our own personal data. And she made a mistake. She's acknowledged it.
Yeah, I'm glad that President Obama is as concerned about illegally trafficking classified information as former Secretary of State was.
Yeah, I mean, he could have thrown her under a bus, but he didn't.
Yeah,
which surprised me.
Yeah.
And he said, of course, that this is all political now.
Well, he's just
hearings on Benghazi. It's all political.
He's just walking the line, but this is all a setup for support for Joe Biden. Ralph and Rantoul.
Yeah, good morning. I know that Putin takes a lot of flack from people for appearing in a lot of photographs without his shirt on. Why don't more people give Obama flack? Because he's a president that doesn't seem to wear any pants. And I also think that I wouldn't think it's going to take too much longer before Obama tries to swap out the Star-Spangled Banner with some version of Kumbaya.
Thanks for the call, Ralph.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up, her ingenuity is quite remarkable. But first, here's your forecast. Today, partly sunny, breezy, unseasonably warm for this time of year, so enjoy it with all the kiddies off this Columbus Day. A high of 73 degrees. And tomorrow, sunny, breezy, and cooler, a high of just 61. Let's get the travel times, and here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy and Dan. On I-57 southbound, well south of Chicago, there's a major crash between Manhattan-Monee and Wilmington Road, and 57 is shut down there, and big delays start at Stunkel Road. The detour is via 50. Wadsworth, there's a report of an overturned dump truck westbound 173 right at 94 in the Tri-State. The Edens is delay-free right now. The Kennedy, just 25 minutes either way between O'Hare and downtown. Inbound Ike is 33 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, outbound 32. No significant delays to report on the Stevenson. The inbound Ryan has just a 2-minute delay coming into downtown. Tollways, southbound Tri-State, it's bottled up from 60 to Duffy with road construction in the right lane. Eastbound Adams Tollway, stop and go, Roselle Road to Meacham. I'm Jim Talamonte, the ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Got a great night's sleep last night, all thanks to MyPillow. From MyPillow, it conforms to my neck and back. It helps if you have chronic back pain, if you have insomnia, allergies. It helps with snoring, too, and headaches. If you have migraine headaches, you might want to give MyPillow the try. 60-day money-back guarantee, a 10-year warranty. There's tens of thousands of satisfied customers, and you could be one, too. Simply go to MyPillow.com, type Amy in the promo code, 2 pillows for the price of one, so you can give one as a gift and keep one for yourself. MyPillow.com, Amy, A-M-Y, in that promo code, or call this number, 800-489-0201, 800-489-0201.
Have you been getting the runaround on a mortgage modification application underwater with your mortgage? Well, you'd be not alone. Let me tell you something. There's a lot of other people in the same boat with you. My name's Lou Bridges. My partner, Scott Owen, I put together a law firm. One of the things we do is help people with modifications, only we don't just submit an application. Through proprietary software that we have access to, we determine what program or programs your loan is eligible for and what it would take to qualify you for those programs under the regulations. We work with our team of people, paralegals and clerks, and we put together everything, and then we submit the application for modification to the servicing bank. Only then we're not asking them, we're telling them this is the modification program our client has chosen from among those that we have confirmed they qualify for, their loan is eligible for under the regulations that you will give. And you must give because the net present value is far greater for the owner of the mortgage. So servicer, thank you for the modification. No more runarounds. Give us a call. We'll give you a free consultation.
224-513-1231.
We're not gathered here united tonight because of the name of our teams or of our schools.
Witness the true story,
but because of the name
of a spiritual awakening
above all names
that saved a high school,
Jesus,
and shook a city. Experience one one hope.
Nobody out there knows what's happened with this team.
One truth.
But when you win on this day, they will!
One way.
Make the changes to these boys' own.
Woodlawn.
I'm asking you to stand up right now and make a decision. To change. To forgive. To choose Jesus.
I want you to stop all religious activities until this board has taken this matter under full review.
I think I'm gonna get hit no matter what I do. I got some tough decisions to make.
Woodlawn starts this Friday.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now. And make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
Oh, no. There's surveillance video of this.
So what we have here is the most gruesome convenience store robbery in recorded history.
Well, the good news is nobody died, but the bad news is well, you can explain it because I don't think that I can.
A woman who's known around the convenience store / gas station as Liquor Pig Tornado.
Well, that's what cops know her as in Mission Hills, California. That's her nickname because she gets arrested all the time. She's got a bit of a drinking problem, Dan.
I wonder if that's one of those nicknames like she gave herself or that's interesting. Liquor Pig Tornado. Well, she apparently ran out of money, said police, from the money, apparently ran out of the money she made at the donkey show.
Yeah, what's the
And I want to know how she made that money.
Betting on the ponies, betting on the donkeys?
I don't think you bet on donkeys. I don't know what she was
Is
doing
that a
with the
strip
donkeys.
club?
I don't. No. It's small d, small s. The donkey show, an actual show featuring donkeys and her performing in some manner or fashion that I don't want to speculate about. She ran out of that cash, so she stumbled in to the convenience store in Mission Hills, California, and used a feminine hygiene product as a weapon to rob the store. I know what you're thinking. Tube of toothpaste? Feminine? No.
A razor?
No.
Hair shears. A brush. A comb.
Brassiere?
That could be a possibility. You know what? A stiletto. They heal from a stiletto shoe.
Liquor Pig Tornado stumbled in, hiked up her skirt.
Oh, my, please, Dan, you cannot say this. Dan.
Pulled something out of herself.
Oh, my gosh.
And said to the clerk, quote, "Give me the green or you get the red."
The terrified store clerk said that it was the grossest thing he's ever seen. I can't imagine what could have happened to me if I decided to be a hero. I'm going to have nightmares for the rest of my life.
As we all are, now that we know this story.
He didn't go after her. He called 911, but he didn't try and stop her after she stole.
You can't stop Liquor Pig Tornado. You can only hope to contain her.
She ran off with $57 and 3 king cans of Faxi, which I guess is
like an energy drink or something.
Drink.
She's going to need her energy. Yeah. Now, that would have been a justifiable, defending yourself if you had a weapon behind the counter. I say yes.
Nasty, real nasty.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
It's easy to take your commercial HVAC system for granted. It's always there, keeping your building comfortably warm or cool. Until you have a system failure. With another unforgiving Chicago winter just around the corner, now's the time to have a comprehensive review of your mechanical HVAC system. And you don't want just anyone. You want Air Comfort, Chicagoland's leading mechanical professionals. For over 80 years, Air Comfort has delivered its customers the best trained and highly skilled team of award-winning technicians. That's why Air Comfort is recognized as Star Certified by the MSCA, a designation achieved by only 2% of contractors nationwide. With a service fleet of more than 80 fully equipped vehicles, chances are that an Air Comfort technician is nearby. Schedule your system check by calling now, 708-345-1900. That's 708-345-1900 or online at aircomfort.com.
So often on this show, we talk about the important issues that affect your world, like the economy, education, foreign policies, stopping tampon wielding, convenience store burglars. And on this show, because there's always so much going on, we don't always have the time to drill down and talk about the big ideas behind the big issues. It's one of the reasons I'm involved with the new website, along with the Illinois Policy Institute called Upstream Ideas, online at upstream-ideas.com. At Upstream Ideas, you'll find info that will inform the discussions we're having here on this show and elsewhere. At Upstream Ideas, we broaden the parameters of debate and move beyond the same old partisan assumptions. In other words, we're pushing against the current and thinking upstream. So go online now to upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You check out an interview I did with State Rep Jeannie Ives. And with each visit to Upstream Ideas, you'll be armed with new info and fresh perspectives to spur you to make the state of Illinois and the Grow USA a bit more free, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized.
There are two kinds of pain. Pain that goes away and the worst kind, chronic pain. If you suffer from chronic pain, life is not complete and it can be miserable. Unfortunately, most people use narcotics that mask the pain. You need to find the source of the chronic pain and get relief.
This is Dr. Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. We're serious players in the management of pain, and our team are national leaders, as well as being educators in the treatment of pain. We will work with you to diminish or eliminate your pain and help you get your life back. You know, there's a nationwide narcotics epidemic, and people are too quick to mask over chronic pain instead of looking for the cause and treating or eliminating the pain. Contact us. We will help you.
Go to mypainchicago.com. Call and make an appointment with some of the best pain people in the nation, located here in Chicago. mypainchicago.com. You or someone you know suffers in the suffering of chronic pain. mypainchicago.com. Let's make you pain-free.
Well, we've had a wonderful time here today. Thank you for that last story, Dan. It really brightened my day.
You're welcome. Wave to us all from your fancy seats at tonight's Cubs game.
Yeah, go Cubs, go. We'll see you back here at 5 a.m. Now let's go back into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, here are the stories we're watching. McHenry teachers to vote on a new contract today. And Kenyan runners win the Chicago Marathon. WIND Chicago News Time, 9 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. He's a killer dentist who may have gotten off by the skin of his teeth. The Minnesota man, reviled for shooting a famed African lion, is apparently not going to face charges. Fox News Radio's Jeff Manasso has an update live.
Zimbabwe will not charge Minneapolis dentist Walter Palmer, who shot and killed Cecil the lion with a bow and arrow in a guided hunt in southern Africa back in July, sparking outrage by animal rights groups. Officials in Zimbabwe say that Palmer did obtain legal authority to conduct the hunt and that he's free